The oosiness continues. It is time for WWE Taboo Tuesday 2004. Welcome back to Double Feature Watch Along Sunday. We were here earlier on in the day for the members only stream, which was a watch along of WWE Raw from November 4th, 1997. Really interesting show. The first live Raw after Ravishing Rick Rude showed up on Raw Nitro on the same night the previous week, and a lot was going on that show when we watched that all together just a couple of hours ago. And now we are back, regrouped, got football on the TV, running through the scores here. We've got the pay-per-view pulled up on Peacock, and it's time for yet another watch-along. So this one I remember very little about. I did buy Taboo Tuesday in 2004. I was curious about how a Tuesday pay-per-view would look. As a matter of fact, I even have the DVD right here of Taboo Tuesday. I must have just picked it up randomly in a lot. It's complete with all the stuff. We'll look at it later. I got a little booklet in there and all sorts of shit. So we'll thumb through that later on as we go. But I do have the physical copy of the DVD here. I didn't participate in any of the online or fan voting or whatever they did back then, but I did buy the pay-per-view itself and watch it. So we're here to check that out. We'll see how this goes. The only thing I really know about this show is I'm pretty sure it's the only pay-per-view Ric Flair ever main evented in WWE. I think it was him and Orton in a cage. We had some Eugene stuff on this show, I think maybe, and all sorts of craziness. So if you have any personal memories of the show, it is now an 18-year-old show, which is crazy. Taboo Tuesday, to me, in my mind, seems like a more modern day show, but it's not. It's something that's nearly 2 decades old, and that's crazy. So anyway, let me say hi to everybody in the chat, and we'll get ourselves orchestrated and organized here, and then we will hit play in just a little bit. By the way, go to Peacock, pull up WWE. You want to find the Taboo Tuesday. There's only 2 seasons of this. Season 1, Episode 1. Runtime on Peacock is 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 6 seconds. So we will be hitting play here in just a few minutes, and you guys know the drill. Once we hit play together, the timer above my head will begin to run, and you just follow along with that. If you have any interruptions or experience any problems, just sync your Peacock up with the timer above my head, and everything will be fine. So just keep that in mind as we go. Most of you are here with us every week for these watch-alongs, so you know what to do. Pretty simple procedure here. We watch it on Peacock. We follow along with the timer. Kindergarten stuff, you know what I mean? So we should be able to handle this just fine. I want to say hello to Vash Starwind, Tatanani, John J.E. Dennett, N.G. Dre. We've got Chaz Medeiros. What's up, dude? Appreciate the DM from you, letting me know about your name pronunciation, which I had it about close anyway. Chaz Medeiros, I should say. How Wheezy, good to see you. Appreciate that $2 from you. Greg, thank you for taking my suggestion. Yeah, this one was from Howie. I know you put this down in one of the posts that I made for the members only about what we should do for this week, and Taboo Tuesday was an October pay-per-view. We've already knocked out a bunch of Halloween Havocs. I think we've done 96, 97, 98, 99, or maybe 95, 96. 97 and 98. I think we've done like 4 of them or whatever. So it's time to move on from the Halloween Havocs, even though tomorrow is Halloween. Taboo Tuesday should be fun. All sorts of stuff, I think, going on this show. Family emergency came up, Chaz. Oh, man, I hope you are doing all right. Oh, you missed the members only watch along. Okay, I was not. Oh, yeah, I guess you weren't here for that one. But glad you're here now, Chaz. Appreciate you as always, as well as Ray Frand, Ben Espinosa. I always say that wrong, too. John Wilson's in the house. We've got Deshaun Robinson is here as well. David Granville, the Juliet. We have Andy Linnell. We have more channel members. Big Dub. We have Zane G. There's another channel member in there. WWE Fan for Life is in the house as well. So is Evan Neal. Jamie Edwards, right on. Cool little crew in here of about 40 or 50 or so. Do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button for me before we get going here, and we will be hitting play on Taboo Tuesday 2004 here in just a few minutes. What a weird show. But after that, I guess it was, a couple of years of Taboo Tuesday, 04 and 05, then they would switch it to Cyber Sunday, probably realizing that Tuesdays weren't the greatest day to have pay-per-views on. They tried it back in 1991 with Tuesday in Texas after Survivor Series that year, where Hogan won back the title. But revisiting a Tuesday pay-per-view, 13 years after the fact was pretty crazy, and this was now 18 years ago. Pretty nutty. So anyway, during the gum flap in here, hopefully you have pulled up your Taboo Tuesday on the Peacock. Get any ads out of the way that you need to watch. Don't skip the intro or anything like that. Just get your zeros all the way across the board, and we're going to hit play together here in 1 second once I cue up my fingers. So unlike today where I was just chilling out, drinking some water, hanging out with you guys, I actually have a nice cold Stella opened. I've got an adult gummy bear, shall we say, as well next to me. We've got football on the big screen on the wall, which I believe it's Buffalo Green Bay, I think, is the game tonight. The Lions continued to tear through the NFL competition today by getting their asses kicked yet again on their way to the Super Bowl. And I believe the Eagles are, 7-0? So, yeah, crazy day if you're a football fan as well. All right, well, let's get our fingers ready on the triggers here. Put your finger on your play button and get ready to hit it as I line up my timer and my play button. All right, I'm not going to botch it this week. I botched it last week. We were 2 seconds off. I will not do that again. We will get it right. And let's do it now. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, I did it again. Hey, let's stop. Stop. Everybody stop. Everybody stop. Go back. We're about 4 seconds in. Just go back. I'll give you a second to stop. We have to redo that. I had my finger on the... So that's 2 weeks in a row now. Although this week, I'm not going to just let it go. We're actually going to fix it. I hit the wrong thing. There we go. It happens. I'm right-handed, and I had to do this with my left hand, so give me a break. That's 2 in a row, so that's 2 strikes. If I botch next week, we can no longer do the watch-alongs. That's the rule. All right, you guys are all the way back to the beginning. All your zeros are there. You ready? Okay, we're going to do it for real this time. Okay? 3, 2, 1, play. There we go. I don't know why that was so. How I went a year and a half without botching that at all, and then I do it twice in as many weeks. All right, we got the video package coming up. Avenging the loss of an unborn child. That is gnarly. That's right. I think we have Kane and Snitsky on this, maybe? I don't recall who wins any of these polls. We Are Pro Wrestling. You got any info on this? Was this legit for real? I forget the story on this. It felt like they were bullshitting a lot of these results, but maybe the first one was legit, and then the other ones, in years later, they would rig. But I would hate to be a talent and have to be dressed and ready to go and then not get picked. I guess it's no different than any sport, you know. If you're a backup quarterback, you still got to be ready to play in case homeboy goes down. Taboo Tuesday. Here we go. Oh, yeah, that's right. They had the nice little keyboard entranceway there. I don't know what that... Is that supposed to be a computer screen? Yeah, I guess back in 2004, we still had the square monitors. I'm pretty sure in 2004, I had a flat screen. I think finally I got rid of my big honking big computer monitor and got myself a flat screen, but it was still just a regular square sized. Oh, yeah, opponents and stipulations for most of these matches tonight will be selected by the talent. Oh, coach is at the control center. Carlos and Hugo in the house. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. I had a feeling that this one was legit, but in later, like definitely the Cyber Sunday years, you know they had to have rigged, right? Who's this? Oh, Molly Holly. We got Molly Holly and Jazz. We got Stacy up front. Gail Kim. Wow. Sometimes I forget how gorgeous Gail Kim is. Who's the other one? Nydia, and I think that's Trish, and then Victoria. All right. Oh, it's Fulfill Your Fantasy? Oh, my God. So all these women have to face each other? Oh, I can't wait to see these choices. Nurses? French maids. This is the way WWE perceived women not that long ago. As toys, you can dress up any way you want and parade out there for the enjoyment of the males. Let's put the men in this. Do you want the men dressed as schoolgirls or French maids or nurses? Give me some Ric Flair out there in a schoolgirl outfit. Who won? Schoolgirls won naturally. God, people are sick. They all have to dress as schoolgirls. Schoolgirl should not be a fantasy. Yeah, Ray, I guess Jazz was still there in 2004, wasn't she? Yeah, this is nearly 2005, and she was still hanging out, huh? All right, here comes Jericho. So Jericho must be the champ then. And then what, his opponent has to be selected, right? I love that it was a pretty big landslide victory for the schoolgirls, too. They were still I mean, it was 04. I think all of that, just the only purpose for Divas was to go out there and show their tits. I think that stayed with WWE probably up until, like, what, 2010 maybe? Until they finally started lightening up on that shit a little bit. And then with, NXT coming around and some more actual, more trained professional women wrestlers coming in, focusing a little bit more on what they can actually do in the ring than how they look. I mean, it took a long time to transition out of that. Or transition out of that. Okay, so there's Batista. Oh, they're all standing next to each other? Shelton! Oh, I think Shelton wins this. So Batista, Shelton, Christian, and who's next to him? Hurricane. And who's this guy? Oh, Rodney back. Who else? Maven. I forgot about Maven. Chucky. All these guys? Regal too? And Steven Richards. It feels like there's somebody else next to him. Or Rhino. How many choices do we have? 20? Look at this. Do you have to line them all up for this? I thought it was like a decision between 3 guys. There's like 15 fucking dudes there. One other beautiful man. We can vote for the coach.
That's unanimous. All right, well, it's fairly unanimous that here in Milwaukee, they want to see Shelton Benjamin face Chris Jericho. However, let's find out what the worldwide audience decides.
What did the worldwide audience decide? Look at all these guys. This is ridiculous. I don't remember it being this many. Shelton by a lot. I wonder how many votes, actual physical votes that was. Shelton, I can see too much of what's going on down there. All right, here comes Shelton. So, like, how did they book this? Like, did they have to have a scenario in play? Like, was Jericho going to lose the championship here regardless of who was selected? Is that how the next Intercontinental Champion was really selected here by the people? Or did they have a separate finish in mind depending on who got picked? Like, if Rhino won this, Jericho would probably just retain, right? But maybe they said, well, if Batista wins or if Shelton wins, they'll go over. I don't know. I don't know how they did it. Anybody in the chat? Was anybody on the WWE writing team in 2004? If you were, let us know how that went. Surely there's got to be somebody. That's what it's about. 4 million votes on WWE.com. I wish there was a way. I know there is. I know there's some programs and even some websites you can go to that will show you what the internet looked like in any particular year. But it's been a while since I've gone to one of those and tried it, but it didn't really work well. It didn't show you everything, and it was spotty and at best. But I really wish there was some sort of really, really easy way. I guess if you had an old computer with an old Windows or something like that, but I mean, to go to the way websites looked, or to visit my YouTube channel and the way it looked in 2011 or something like that. I have a few screenshots and stuff over the years, but it would be fun to like go back and surf the web that way. How different, the start button and all your programs looked, and how you saved files and all that stuff just looked so different and just changed so much. I never really realized how capable computers were until I started doing YouTube and shit, because I never really had much of a use for computers other than printing some stuff, doing some occasional stuff for work, following a lot of, wrestling news and stuff like that. But even prior to YouTube coming out, I don't even know what I was doing on the internet at that time. I wasn't spending a lot of time on it. It wasn't until, YouTube came around, I started realizing, you can watch videos, and then the more you could do with the internet, the more I was doing with it. And then when I started doing YouTube, I was like, holy shit, the capacity on these things and understanding, files and, and how to store them and what to do with them and that type of thing. That's when I started realizing the true capabilities of these things. I'm like, holy shit, sooner or later, and we're just going to be able to walk right into our computer screens, and you're going to be in that world. We're probably like a generation or two off from making that happen. Come on, Shelton. Look at the shape he is in. Pretty cool to see both of these guys still active. Shelton and Jericho both. Blows my mind that this show was 18 years ago. That is just crazy. The difference between the time difference between right now and when, I don't know, Danielson or Daniel Bryan won the titles at WrestleMania 30 is the same difference between here at Taboo Tuesday and the screw job. Like, that's just crazy to me. Like 1997 WWE and 2004 WWE seem like two completely different promotions to me in my head. Nothing about them is the same. It changed pretty dramatically there in 7 years. Befuddled. Nice boot by Jericho. I guess I do like the pay-per-view set. I do like that. The big, kind of the big computer monitor and the keyboard. It's kind of cool. I mean, 2004, what the fuck was I doing at this time? I was managing a restaurant in Wilmington. I'd been there at this point about 3.5 years, I guess, maybe 4. I was living in a house. I know that. I was living in a house with 2 roommates. We had a 3-bedroom house, a big backyard, 2-car garage. It was awesome. And the 3 of us rented it. My computer at that time was probably maybe like a compact or a gateway I might have had back at that time or in those days. This was also around the same time where I was making a fart ton of money on eBay, selling, burned DVDs and stuff. I would put it, it was before there was a really big crackdown. It was kind of easier. And I would be completely honest with what I sold. I was like, you are not getting DVD artwork and all this shit. You are getting this episode of Monday Night Raw burned onto a disc. And I would put it up there and then I would sell it, for pretty cheap, like $8, $10 or whatever it is. And I would sell pay-per-views for like 10 or 12. And I would sell Raw episodes for like $5 a piece. I would do whole seasons, for $100, things like that. And people would see these items for sale, and what they would do instead of bidding on the items or buy, a lot of times I had buy it now options, they would contact me personally. They would contact me in my email. Hey, I saw your listing on eBay. Can we work out some sort of a private arrangement? And I got those emails all the time. So I barely did I did some selling on eBay, but the majority of all those sales I made were just private deals. People emailing me, here's my PayPal address, send me this money and I will send you this shit out in the mail. And I did that for like a solid year before finally I kind of had to stop for a certain reason. But yeah, it was a nice little side business that I had back in the day. No, I wasn't LimeWire King. I was doing no downloading. Nothing that I was doing was downloading. All the DVDs I was selling was from my private collection on VHS. So everything I sold was personally recorded from TV or pay-per-view by me personally. So I would have all that footage on VHS tapes, and then I transfer them to DVDs. And then I had DVD recorders in my house. None of this was done on the computer. I had DVD recorders in my house, and I would set them up on TVs, around various TVs around the house, and I would burn or just copy the DVD or DVDs through the DVD recorder, or just record it directly from the VHS tape to a new DVD and sell them that way. So I would have, like, my bed would be laid out with all these DVDs and like little Post-its of what I'm supposed to record on each one. And I would be like a full-time job all day. I'd be popping tapes and DVDs in the recorders and recording the shows, writing, on the DVD disc with a Sharpie which show it was, stick it in an envelope and sending it out. And I did that hardcore, man. And it was all private deals. It was all just done on trust. I didn't rip anybody off. I gave everybody what they paid for. It was a great time as Jericho gets superplexed by Shelton. But yeah, that was all going on in 2004 during this exact time. I did that in like 2004, 2005. How Weezy, appreciate that $9.99, my friend. Good to see you. Bianca, Liv, Andrade, Alex Riley, and Tony Schiavone all going to be at the same con in New York on the 12th that I'm going to. That's crazy, right? It is crazy, but for you, that's pretty much a normal day at the office. Every time you go to a convention, you meet no less than 642 people. So I guess this time you're just going to meet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, that's quite the lineup there. The Bianca and Liv and Andrade and Tony Schiavone are all going to be at the same place. That's kind of cool. ECW November to Remember might be good to do one of those next month. I'm into that. I'll look up the cards, or maybe we'll do a members only poll. Let you guys decide which one to do. Oh, yeah, Gilbert, tell me about it. Now, I have a ton of shoot interviews now, but at the time that I was doing that, I didn't have very many. And all the shoot interviews I've acquired have been downloadable versions, just digital. So everything that I ever sold, I had like physical media, and I didn't burn one single thing on the computer. Everything I did was using, I bought Pioneer. I bought 3 of them. Pioneer DVD recorders. Bought 3 of them from Walmart, all at one city. I walked right into Walmart one day, bought 3 of them. They're about $170 each. Put them up on the counter, and then took them home. I had 3 VCRs, I had 3 TVs, and I set them around my office, my studio that I did my shit in. And just every day, I think I had it down to where I could do like 14 DVDs a day, if I timed everything out right. So, because you had to wait. Like if I'm recording something, I have to wait for the whole thing to play. I can't like burn it quick, So that's how I did it, and it would just making sales hand over fist. Bought myself a car with that money. I bought a used 2003 Pontiac Grand Prix. It was about 2 years old when I bought it. Leather, heated seats, fast. I felt like I was a baller. And that was WWE money. Or wrestling money, I should say, not WWE money. Those DVD recorders I talked about, I still have one of them. It's in the closet. It's right around the corner. I could even show it to you if you wanted. Nope, there he goes. It's a good long match here, too. I mean, I don't know how many minutes they're putting in here, but got to be going on 12 by now. Yeah, when you think of the ECW title, I think Mark Henry got a crack at that. So did Matt Hardy. So did Christian. Shelton Benjamin should have definitely been on that. Hey, maybe if Shelton Benjamin ever becomes world champion, maybe he can create a sitcom, kind of like The Rock did, and call it Young Shelton. Yeah, I was a psycho when it came to DVDs and VHS, man. Even my old TV, my big screen setup in the 90s and stuff, I had two VCRs attached to that. So every time there was a pay-per-view, I'd make 2 copies. Yes! Did you just hit him with his, what is that, T-bone thing that he did back then? Good for you, Shelton Benjamin. Happy for him 18 years later, but I'm still happy. I thought he was hugging Mike Chioda. Jericho looked shocked. So maybe now that I see the context of this, that was the first match. It makes me think that maybe WWE had planned to take the belt off of Jericho regardless of who won, because they want to show that, hey, look what can happen on these shows. You pick an opponent, you know, the champion's not prepared for it, and you can get title changes very easily this way. It's probably a good way to set the tone for this type of show, to have a pay-per-view, or I'm sorry, a title change in the first match of the show, or the pay-per-view. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe if Chuck Palumbo would have won the vote, he would have won the Intercontinental title. I'm glad it was Shelton. Oh, your friend let you borrow WrestleMania 3 and record it? You want one of mine? Got 7 copies right there. And a lot of those ones, these clamshells, oh, they're going to shake hands here. Code of honor. Jericho took the belt. Oh, he's going to give it to him. He's going to present it to Shelton. Good for you, Jericho. I like to see that. Good sport. Good sport, Jericho. But these VHSs, they actually had like a copyright blocker. So if you tried to put this in 2 VCRs and record it, it would stop you from doing it. So they made devices that would block that. It's like a Disney thing. Like Disney did that to a lot of their tapes too. And there was a device you could buy for $90, and they had it at Best Buy, and you could connect it to the 2 VCRs, and then when you tried to record, it would block whatever copyright cock block is going on there, right? But I only had about 4 or 5 of these tapes that had that on it. So I bought the device from Best Buy, took it home, connected it, recorded everything I needed to record that same day, and then the next day boxed it back up, returned it to Best Buy, told them it didn't work, got my money back. Ha! Benoit, Edge, and Shawn. Oh, I think I remember this. Is Shawn hurt? I think Shawn's hurt.
I won the triple threat match, to me proving that I deserve a world title match here at Taboo Tuesday. And if there's any justice in this world, I'll walk out of Taboo Tuesday with my head held high as the world heavyweight.
Hey, can you get a WrestleMania VHS? I gave one away once. Maybe when I sell them, I'll make sure I hook you up. But I like to collect them. If I see one on eBay for like anything less than $25, I pick it up. I want to see if I can get like 20 copies.
If the people like myself
Just for fun.
are sick and tired of watching Triple H and Evolution, and Triple H and Evolution, and Triple H and Evolution dominate Raw, then vote for Benoit, because I've made that SOB Taboo before,
Yeah, Benoit was champion.
and walk out World Heavyweight Champion.
You're a little too intense for me, Benoit. Sean, what say you? Oh yeah, Raw was the. I was like, why are they saying last night? Raw was the night before. Sympathy vote.
Did I ask a lot of things from the fans? One thing I'm not asking for is sympathy. After you strip away the image, all a man's got is his word. And I'm giving you my word that I am injured. I'm not 100%. I've got a torn medial meniscus. The fact is, I've done it once before for these people, and I'll do it again. Give me one more
So Sean, if he wins this, which I think he does, he works hurt.
That's all I've got. Whatever is left in here, I'll leave out there in the ring. Every shred of every ounce of my being, I will leave in that ring for you tonight against Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Well, you've heard from all three candidates. One final time. It's now time.
Oh, good. We're gonna find out now.
Who will face Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship?
Is this match like next?
We've already seen lightning strike once here tonight. Could it strike twice in regards to the World Heavyweight Championship and three of the greatest superstars on Raw here today? So it's time to ask the live audience first.
Scott Steiner has no sympathy. That's because he's a genetic freak and he's not normal.
Heavyweight champion
Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be?
Benoit face Triple H tonight.
At the time, I was probably rooting for Benoit.
Would you like to see Edge face Triple H here tonight? And finally, would you like to see the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels face Triple H?
Yeah, I'm down with some Survivor Series for next month. I'm into 95.
Saying an overwhelming response here live in Milwaukee, Shawn Michaels is the selection. However, as you know, we need to find out what the
Sean, the crowd wants Sean. So let's see what the crowd wants at home. What do we want?
three choices
Who y'all voting for?
can't go wrong with any three.
You can't go wrong with any three.
Who did the worldwide audience select? Here's the results.
Wow, pretty close. Sean did win, though.
Shawn Michaels
And Benoit was in the last place. Wow.
of the vote to face Triple H. So there you have it.
Well, Sean,
Audience here in Milwaukee, the worldwide internet audience,
one thing that doesn't make sense here.
to the World Heavyweight Championship. It'll be Shawn
Oh, yeah, see, Edge looks a little pissed.
Game Triple H.
So he's starting to go heel. But, like, let's say Sean won the title. Wouldn't he have to, like, just forfeit it because he's injured anyway? I don't think he was out for that long because I know he'd be back in time to work Mania against Kurt Angle. I remember the promo he cut after this, I'm pretty sure on Raw, where he talked about having to go away, but I think he was only gone 4 months, 3 months. Was he in the Rumble in 2005, Shawn Michaels? You guys know. Ooh, fulfill your fantasy. Ooh. It's time to fulfill our fantasies, y'all.
Being that the elimination will occur when a diva is thrown through the ropes, out of the ring, and both feet have to hit the floor.
Here comes Trish's music. Who sang her song? Was it Lil Kim? Lil Kim. She's fat. PH fat. Meet the Parents? Anybody? No. I want to go all the way back to grammar school. God, Lawler. Oh, he's going to be the worst in this. He wants to go back to kindergarten, says Lawler. Ugh. It's even grosser when you're old like me. I mean, I'm 45 years old. I got a bunch of like young high school kids working for me as hostesses and stuff. I'm very protective of them, you know. Like, I make sure, you know, we get a kitchen guy to walk them to their car at night and stuff like that. I'm like, you keep Lawler away from them, you know. Yeah, you have to kind of walk down. We're in a really rich neighborhood, but still, you know, any alleyway anywhere, shit can go down. So I always make sure I tell the girls, I'm like, before you leave, just come get me or one of them, or get, you know, Carlos or one of our big gentle giants there in the kitchen to walk you to your car, and make sure if you've parked far away and you're leaving late at night. Puerto Rico, Nydia. I like how they have to go like this. Well, when I was in school, I don't know about you guys, I don't recall these type of outfits. Lillian just has to stand there and be like, this is fucking ridiculous. From Korea. I never understood why Gail Kim didn't get much of a reaction from the audience. She's a good wrestler. She's got a great look. I loved the story. I don't know remember what year it was, but what did she do? She like just walked out in the middle of a battle royal for no reason and just left the company. Like, that's awesome. That's boss. Molly Holly. That's right. We watched WrestleMania 20 together, I think this year or the year before. And that's when she had her head shaved, right? So that would have just been 8 months earlier. Yeah, Gail, I think, was better in TNA. But which part of Korea, Lillian? I like that Molly's dressed a little bit more conservatively, like a normal schoolgirl. Like, you might actually see a schoolgirl wearing that, maybe. But this other shit. Well, at least Victoria's got the glasses on. The little schoolgirl with a knee brace on. Oh, Jerry Lawler. Fucking ridiculous. What is the rules here? This is for the championship? Oop, I'm pixeling out here. What's going on? Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Stacer. Stacy, where have you been? Yeah, why did they announce Gail from Korea if she's like hailing for, she lives in Toronto? Like, they changed Benoit and Jericho. It was this very same year, I think. They changed where they were announcing Benoit and Jericho from because they no longer lived in Canada. They lived in the U.S. So why didn't they say Gail Kim was from Toronto? Fans were so mad about that too, man. Oh, my God. So mad about Jericho being from Manhattan and Benoit being from Georgia. To me, I didn't give a two shits where they announced him from. I don't even know why that would matter at all. But I do understand, like, why would that decision even be made to begin with, you know? Because it doesn't matter and it shouldn't matter. To just openly decide and have a conversation backstage, say, hey, let's start saying Jericho's from New York and Benoit's from Jericho. Like, who even brings that up? And who even decides that's necessary, you know? Like, I wish I could be a fly on the wall and be around for whenever that was brought up for the first time. Because if I was in that room, I'd have been like, who fucking cares? Can we move on to something important, please? And not something idiotic like that. But, man, the fans did not like it. Very angry. And it's like it was one of those situations, I find myself in these situations a lot, where I do understand kind of where they're coming from, the fans, but I wasn't as mad as them about it. You know? I'm like, I got a life to live. I can't be fucking mad about Jericho being from Manhattan, New York. Don't care. Too much going on. If I sit inside all day, 24/7 with my thumb up my ass, then yeah, maybe that stuff would bother me, but... Oh, nice. Oh, really nice. Hey, there's actually some good wrestling in this schoolgirl fantasy thing or whatever's happening here. Yeah, and exactly, JJ. So if that was the thought process, now if that is exactly what happened one day in 2004, say, hey, let's go ask Jericho and Benoit and everybody else where they want to be billed from, and that's what they told him, then fine. But it seemed like there was something more behind the decision than that. Like WWE was doing it personally to piss off the fans. Like, that's the way I felt like the vibe came off. And I think the fans felt that way too. Looking at all these school outfits here. Reminds me of last night. I me and Elizabeth stayed up until 5 in the morning and finished Stranger Things Season 2. And wrapped up with the school dance scene, which just warmed my heart. Except for Dustin, man. That kid deserves happiness. And the way Nancy danced with him at the end. He had his hair all done. Like, it was awesome. But I almost got, like, irrationally angry with them having Dustin get rejected. That's going to affect his confidence and stuff, you know? And I don't like that. And so I was happy that the high schooler came in and saved him at the end. But he's probably my favorite character is Dustin. Oh, shit. Yeah, Stacy was about to get a suplex on to the floor from the ring. That's one move I think Stacy does really well because she does have those legs that literally go all the way up to Canada. And she can do that Kevin Nash move in the corner. Yeah, I mean, minus the ridiculous outfits that are in here, this hasn't been, like, insanely bad because you do have to look who is in here. Look who's here right now. You got Trish, who knows what she's doing. Molly knows what she's doing. Victoria knows what she's doing. Stacy's a little clueless, but that's why we love her. Gail Kim's a stud. Jazz is in this. So everybody in this match, with the exception of maybe Stacy, is very capable. Which is probably why this match isn't sucking as bad as it should. Even though it's probably going to be a 2-minute match. How many minutes are we into this thing? 2? Maybe 3? Oh, we got Christy and Carmella. Oh, well, if we're going to get a 2-minute match, so that's going to be it. Christy and Carmella. Christy and Carmella. I'll never forget that Diva search. I remember the whole time. I remember when they had this giant field, and all I could think of is Christy and Carmella. I'm like, I don't know how I knew this or whatever. Not even really watching that hardcore at the time. You could just tell they're going to go with those two. Like, that's what they're going to do. No matter what they did with everybody else, all I kept thinking was Christy and Carmella, Christy and Carmella, Christy and Carmella. Oh. Christy Hemme, from what I hear, did pretty well financially for herself. I think she invested or something. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's another Carmella. I forgot about the current present day Carmella. Yeah, not that Carmella. It's like in Big Daddy when Adam Sandler says, I'm going to dress you up. I'm going to take you to Barney's. He's like, Barney's? Like, not that Barney's. A different Barney's. No, not that Carmella. A different Carmella. Neither one of them great. I didn't like that Carmella, and I don't like the new one much either. Wow, look at Stacy hanging on. Or no, that's Trish hanging on. Stacy's going for a, nope, head scissors, nope. All right, this is going to be our finish here. There's Molly and Trish. Trish, give her some satisfaction. Let's call this a day. Nope. Oh, that is the finish. I forgot it was a battle royal. I actually didn't even know what we were watching just then. I didn't realize they were tossing each other out of the ring. Because you don't have to go over the top rope to be eliminated in a women's version of this back in those days. All right, good job, Trish. Still women's champion. I would have hated it if Trish lost her title in a schoolgirl, what is it? Fulfilling schoolgirl match or something. I don't forget what it was called. But yeah, nobody wants that. Shout out to Spaz Phoenix. I think you're trying. Where are you? Dropped in 20 Canadian on us. Appreciate that. Welcome back to another second watch along of the day. What's up, good Mike? Cheap plug. WWE Last Week is processing now. Available on YouTube, Rumble, and all audio platforms tomorrow. Playforms tomorrow at 11 a.m., 10 a.m. Sorry, I can't read. Since there was no NXT review last week, this show covers Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Halloween Havoc. That's a loaded show. Head on over to Spaz Phoenix's YouTube channel. Give him some love. And watch his opinions on all that shit. Oh, no, not these guys. Lad Resistance. Hate Lad Resistance.
My thoughts? This isn't fair. We just now found out who we're going against for the World Tag Team Championships. I tell you.
Okay.
Typical of the corrupt American.
So that previous poll with Shawn winning was the stip in that, or was the stipulation that the two guys that didn't win challenged for the tags? Okay. It is kind of funny that Montreal's just stuck right there in the middle of all this North America speaking French.
This match under protest.
It's funny how history works and how settlers come in and where we go and what we do. I'm not the biggest Kane fan in the world. Gail Kim is married to celebrity chef Robert Irvin. Let me look him up, see what he looks like. I might have met him before. I've met a bunch of those guys. Let me see his face. Oh no, I haven't met him, but I've came close. That guy came in and saved a restaurant that I knew very well. I knew the owners. I knew people who worked there in Wilmington. And I think I was already living here. And he did an episode on that place. And he completely remodeled it. It needed a lot of work. It was a little hole-in-the-wall kind of breakfast place. So they did what they did there, and they were always busy, but it needed some improvements. And he took it apart, did really good job. So that's interesting. Gail Kim is married to him? That fucking guy? Yeah, Gail Kim, married 2012. That is nuts. I never knew that. I like him a lot better than the bar rescue asshole. A lot of those shows I couldn't, like him and even Robert Irvin and Gordon Ramsay. Like, I could never be on the shows because I do not have it in me to be spoken to in that way by any human on this earth. I wouldn't take it for 10 seconds. I'd go completely ape shit. And I wouldn't be able to do it. It's like all those, food shows like Chopped and everything, when they have to sit there and have these people. It's one thing if you're criticizing my food, but in the way they do it, in the condescending tone, and the way they talk to you, wouldn't fly with me. So I couldn't be a part of it. My place does great, where I'm at. But if they came in and be like, hey, we want to do an episode, I'm like, no, you can't, because if you yell at me, I'm going to take this brick and bash your face in with it. So, no. Okay, I was about to say, because if they're already promoting Snitsky and Kane here, that means that something else has to be decided. So it's the stip that we pick. There's a guy, for you old people like me, on one of the very early crews of Jackass, like when Jackass was still on MTV before the movie, that looked in the face just like Snitsky. The Pennsylvania face. I have cousins there. They look like that too. It's weird. I don't know. I call it the Pennsylvania face. But the guy in the Jackass looks just like him. I forget what his name is now. I'd have to look him up, but they look facially alike. He wasn't like a main cast member. He was like an off-to-the-side guy. Not Rab himself, but one of the guys like Rab himself. He was one of them. And he looks just like Snitsky in the face. Look him up. You'll see it. Pennsylvania face. Emerald is the best. I worked with a chef for 9 years that was Emerald's sous chef in Louisiana. Knew him well. But I never met Emerald. So that looks like a lead pipe, steel chair, or chain. Ugh. That's kind of boring. Who cares? I don't care which one of these weapons you use. I don't care. You care less. Like, if you're a fan at home, what are you doing? This is a tough call here. I don't know. What am I going to do? What did they vote for? I don't even know. It's got to be a chair, right? It's wrestling. How are you going to pick something else over a chair? Chain. Hey, Kane is good in chain matches, I'm pretty sure. What was that match he had with Triple H at Judgment Day, 2001? He won the Intercontinental title. Chain match, right? Shit all over this thing. And here comes weird-ass Snitsky. Victor, appreciate the $2 after this match. Kane would be gone for a few months. Oh, I kind of forgot what his music sounds like. See, I had never seen Snitsky before he came in here. So I'm like, how the hell did this guy go? Or where was he working? Baby killer. Oh, my God. That whole angle was ridiculous. Oh, yeah, he went to go film See No Evil after this. Okay. So whatever they do here is a way to get Kane off TV, maybe? So Snitsky must win this, I'm guessing? Baby killer. Yeah, Snitsky, Heidenreich, Luther Reigns, I put all of them in that same category too, the same exact category, Vince's beef. I was never a huge fan of any of them. Even Heidenreich, who kind of was turning a few heads, just wasn't clicking with me. I didn't care. I gave less than a fuck about Luther Reigns. I'm so glad his brother Roman is much better. And Snitsky, didn't care much for him either because I thought he looked like an oversized version of that Jackass guy. So I was not a fan of anybody. Oh, here comes Lita. I found him. Okay, I found the guy. I'm gonna post his name so you can copy it and look him up and look at the images. But this guy, it's Brandon DiCamillo, and he was one of the early Jackass guys. So here's his name. Look him up. Just Google image him and tell me that that dude ain't Snitsky in the face. He looks like him to me. To me, anyway. Now, I remember at the time watching this being extremely pro-Kane and very anti-Snitsky. Who is this referee? MJF? Oh, yeah, this is what kind of turns Kane face, right? Yeah, I have a hard time remembering the Kane stuff because, you know, then Lita and Edge, you know, then Lita would kind of join with Kane, but then Edge would come along and Lita would dump Kane after Kane stole her from Matt Hardy. It was just, but then the real life stuff was playing. Good God, Lita. But then the real life stuff was playing in around the same time, and it was hard for me to remember the sequence of events. You can see this resemblance in a way. Okay, just in a way. To me, they just look. They have the Pennsylvania face. My cousin Eric has the Pennsylvania face, too. It's funny. I'm like, what is it about Pennsylvania? I went to a wedding one time in Scranton. Scranton was pretty fucking scary. But the one cool thing we did, we went to some little restaurant like a night before the wedding, and must have been, I got into town real late at night, so I hadn't seen the daytime scenery yet, and we must have been up on a hill or mountain or something, and the moon just set over like the valley or whatever we were overlooking there, and it like took up half the sky, and I was just like blown away. I'm like, man, I'm in like upper western Pennsylvania, and I'm seeing the most gorgeous nighttime view I have ever seen. And then the next day, I kind of got to look at like where I was. I'm like, oh yeah, this is mountainous and hilly, and you know all that. And a lot of beauty up there. Fall is probably incredible, with the leaves changing and all that. Here it's just sunny and awesome all the time. I don't get no yellow leaves here. I wish I did. Yeah, yeah, Snitsky would change up, too. He would grow the beard out and everything. How long did he hang around? He hang around past 07? I remember seeing some sort of a Where Are They Now update on him within the last couple of years. I don't remember when. I can't remember what he was doing, but whatever it was impressive. I don't remember what it was. But I'm like, oh, look at him. He looked really good, too. I mean, he looked old, but he looked good. Oh, yeah, I'm glad we got the Undertaker and Randy Orton match at WrestleMania 21. Anything else would have sucked. Those other options would have sucked anyway. As a whip. Okay, 2008. Okay. Oh, yeah, he would have the busted-ass grill. Yeah, I remember that. Shout out to the guy with the I came to see the Killer Bees sign. This is peak Lita, by the way. If you're ever wondering what peak Lita is, it's 2004 and 2005. Good grief. Morrow dissed WWE last night during the boxing fight. Well, Mauro Ranallo, did he call that Jake Paul bullshit? That's what he's doing now? What did he say? Oh, yeah, Luke Gallows coming in as fake Kane. He did not pull off a fake Kane very well. That fan in the audience is going to be very disappointed to find out that the Killer Bees are not booked for tonight. Both Killer Bees, Jumpin' Jim and B. Brian Blair, have both been featured on the Territories show. Just watched the last one on Florida last week, which was pretty crazy. Wrestlers and planes is just never good. We've got the whole plane ride from hell story. A couple of weeks ago on the AWA episode, they're talking about Mad Dog Vachon hanging out the plane, throwing seats out and shit with the door open. And then Eddie Graham, hammered, drunk, flying a plane, drunk flying in Florida. Just, my God. I think the Crockett plane had its share of problems, too. I think there was a couple of stories. I think I heard Cornette tell a few stories about being on that private plane a couple times, about some hairy situations there. So I don't know what it is with wrestlers and planes, but it is not a good mix, man. But, yeah, B. Brian Blair was on the Florida episode, and Jumping Jim, of course, would have been on the AWA episode because he was in the tag team with Gagne. And Blair had a pretty good run in Florida, too, before they went to New York, as they said in the day, and donned the black and yellow stripes. They were a good team, too. They would pull the twin magic bullshit. They'd put the masks on, and they got a victory over they pinned Bret Hart that way once. Maybe it was Jim. They beat the Harts in a non-title. Eugene is my dad. Okay. Eugene's out there fathering kids. Strikeforce versus the Killer Bees would have been a good match, but I would have picked Strikeforce easily. Martel and Tito, I think, had much better resumes and just had a much better look in general than Jim and Brian Blair. But Jim was a great wrestler. Blair was good. Jumping Jim had a crazy good drop kick. Best in the business for a long time. Kane's fighting. Come on, Kane. Hair Supply. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. No? Nobody? Lita's probably like, thank God I didn't have to do any of that schoolgirl bullshit earlier. Oh, wow.
Snitsky finally drops the chain, and Kane now mounting a significant offensive attack. Those heavy-duty blows from Kane finding their mark, but
Big sidewalk.
Snitsky powered. Shawn and overpowered Kane. The hook of the leg. And Kane got his right shoulder up.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I have no interest in those. I know they do great business, but I do not give a shit about some dumb celebrity fighting some washed up fighter, you know? But they're kind of doing, that they're kind of using wrestling's formula, taking names from the past. You can't put a name in the past and put it in a serious UFC situation, but you can put them in exhibitions and boxing matches and shit like that. It's taking, what wrestling does, because wrestling does the same thing. They capitalize on names of the past, and in any other sport, you usually cannot do it once you get to be a certain age. But since wrestling is scripted, you can do it as long as you're physically able to do it. So these celebrity boxing matches and these exhibitions and these pay-per-view fights, who would just win this fight between these two guys? They're doing good business because people legitimately care. I am just not one of those people. Could fuck all care less who fights Jake Paul or who beats Jake Paul or whether it's rigged, whether it's not. Probably is rigged. But you have to understand that's got to be rigged, because the minute Jake Paul loses, then all this is over. So I think a lot of people are tuning in because they're hoping one of these days, one of these badass former fighters is going to be able to kick his ass. So if they keep paying enough, if they keep paying whoever to take the dive, to continue that streak, continue that business, and that cash cow keep moving, that's the way it looks to me. I'm not saying Jake Paul isn't like a capable. I'm sure he knows what he's doing to a degree by this point, and I know he's like well trained and stuff. But these are people with still a lot more experience than him, and a lot more age. And plus, this is a boxing match, not a UFC match. So he has advantages and things are stacked in his favor. But it's a business model that's working. Who knows how much people are paying? That's not something I would ever slap my money down for. I would just watch the Twitter feed and read people talk about it. And then 10 seconds after the fight's over, I'd see the clip of the knockout right there on my timeline. Now, if I got a bunch of friends or something, a bunch of buddies are like call me up and say, "Hey, come on over. We're buying the Paul Silva fight. Bring a 12-pack or something." Then I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm on my way." But it's not something I would be doing on my own, I love that it was a chain match, but he's got the chair, because that's another stupid part of that stipulation, is that essentially no matter what, hi Lita, no matter what weapon was picked there, automatically makes it a no disqualification match, right? So wouldn't you just be able to use all the weapons regardless of which ones are picked? Have they brought that up yet on commentary? Maybe they have. It lacks logic. Imagine that, WWE lacking logic. So rare. Damn, he is getting pounded. Kane's in great shape here, too, by the way. Look how lean he is. He's lean. He's tall. Oh, yeah, John, those first two Survivor Series with those big 20-man tags, it was rough. It was rough for the wrestlers, too. You couldn't run the ropes. Everybody, every inch of the ring was covered. I don't think it was that bad for the fans on the upper level, but the fans on the floor, I'm sure it was a nightmare. They ran the same venue the first 2 years. There was like Richfield Coliseum in Ohio. Random building to run, but it was close to home and probably a cheap building to run and a building they knew they could fill. And it probably cost them very little to do and that type of thing, going back there back-to-back years. But, yeah, those 20-man tags, they didn't stick around for too long. They were gone by 89. '89, they went to 4-man teams, I believe. Oh, man. Oh, man. We're going to Pillmanize Kane's neck. This is what's going to happen. Hi, Lita. This match has gone too long. I agree, Enigma. It has. So since this match sucks, why don't you give this video a thumbs up? Give it the opposite of what this match is. Oh, God, they did do it. Oh, Kane must have blood packeted himself. So the chain won the stipulation, but a chair ended the match. So this match is over, right? Kane is hurt bad. Oh, he came in to pin him? Oh, that's nice. So help me out. How does Kane get his payback here? He's gone for about 4 months, right? Does he come back and dispose of Snitsky before they get to WrestleMania? I think at WrestleMania 21, Kane's in the Money in the Bank match, right? So does he have a run-in with Snitsky prior to that? Or does Snitsky get away with this whole situation free and clear and never gets any payback? They lost their baby boy, and now Kane has lost his larynx. He's going to have to bring the voice box back. Ew. Too much fake blood. Gross. Okay, so he attacks it. I was about to say, maybe when Kane comes back, at some point, he's going to have to get his big, giant, red demon hands on Snitsky's throat for what he did. I don't know if it's a good idea to put that thing. King's got a point there. They're trying to wrap his neck up with that thing, but the neck is what's injured. He got crushed.
It could be something that severe. Kane is gasping for air. He can't get that air through his throat. Obviously, his windpipe has been, in layman terms, has been damaged severely. You can hear him gasping for air.
If he's gasping for air, he's not going to want to be hovered around by people and have an apparatus on his throat and have people's hands all over his face. That's not going to help him get a breath. He needs to sit up. Oof. Snitsky, you dick. While Kane gets wheeled away, I'm going to go grab another frosty beverage. I'll be right back. Up, there it is. Kane is still being attended to over there. That's the one thing I hate the worst is your inability to breathe. Choking, getting the wind knocked out of you, anything like that. It is the worst shit. Trying to take a breath when you can't take one. Kane did this to Shawn? Well, that's what you get, Kane. Evil bastard. What goes around comes around. Oh, yes. Snitsky is back to continue. When it comes to stretcher assault, nothing will ever top, in my mind, Big Show with Rey Mysterio tied to the stretcher, and then he swings it like a baseball bat up against the post. And then Ray, who is strapped into it and can't even move his arms, falls face first onto the ground. That was the ugliest bump I've ever seen. Like, I can't imagine how bad that hurt. Like, falling face first when you can't put your arms out is, like, not what you want to be doing. Oh, God, he did turn Kane over the opposite way. Man, watch how Kane fell. Well, maybe he got his arms up. I don't know, but, man. He's all strapped to that. It is kind of crazy, though, seeing Kane. I mean, the watch-along we did earlier, Kane had just gotten there. And here all these years, he's a human now. He's being stretchered out. He's bleeding from the mouth. He's being beaten up by somebody, just a normal guy, you know, who doesn't have magical powers like he has. It's just weird.
What does it look like, Todd? Do I look happy? Should I be happy? In the first interactive pay-per-view, the people pick a broken down, injured has-been. I'm not a has-been. I'm hungry. I'm young. I want...
Broken down, injured has-been. You're mad at Shawn.
Shawn Michaels will not defeat Triple H. I would have. And now...
Edge, you mad, bro?
Championship match. Well, no disrespect to the tag team championships. I've had them 10 times. But to me, it's a...
Big Show got heat for that. I thought that was the planned spot.
Chris Benoit. Well, this was my destiny to be the world heavyweight champion.
Yeah, Ray would help Brock best Big Show at Judgment Day 2003. I was at that show. We need to watch that soon. I was there.
So I'd like to thank you. Thank you, people. Thank you very much.
Now it's time for the match I've personally been looking forward to. As my boss, Eric Bischoff, is all set to valiantly take on his nephew, Eugene.
Oh, God.
But here are the
A hair match.
for this match. There are 3 to choose from. The loser must do one.
Oh, JJ, you just got out of the shower. Can't believe you missed the 7-star classic between Kane and Gene Snitsky. JJ out of the shower. Bow, chicka, bow, bow. Still got a towel around you? Are you dripping?
Loser must have his head shaved bald.
Hurry up and change. We won't look.
So we're going to change things up a little bit and get this match started right now.
So this is a hair. I didn't miss the stip. It's a hair match, obviously. Loser gets their head shaved. What else was Coach flapping about? Here comes Cobra Kai Bischoff. Speaking of salty people, he's Mr. Grumpy Pants all the time on Twitter. Very drippy, nice. Here comes Eugene. How many more years would Eugene be this guy? I mean, we're still in 2004 here, so I'm pretty sure Eugene was a thing all the way up until probably 2006 or something, right? Like, making fun of mentally challenged people is fucked up enough, but even if you're keeping it in kayfabe, you mean like every time Eugene comes out, he has to have the same 2 buttons wrong on his jacket? It always has to be inside out? Wouldn't like at least one time it wouldn't be inside out? Just because maybe one time it wouldn't be inside out. Maybe he took it off, and when he took it off, it became right side in, and then he put it on next time he went out there, and it's right side in this time. And then he takes it off, and it's inside out, and it rotates. Maybe another week a different button is missed. Or maybe one of the very nice WWE divas or very nice male wrestlers on the roster pull Eugene aside. Hey, come here, buddy. Let's straighten you up here. You take your jacket off. Let's fix you up and, you know, tidy up his stuff and button him up and, you know, maybe comb his hair, give him a little fist bump, say, go out there, knock him dead. Like nobody's pulling little fella aside and straightening him out. Making no sense, is what I'm trying to say. As Luigi Primo would say. Bathroom break. Oh, yeah. Brock F5ing Zach Gowen into the post was gnarly. But I think the Ray one was worse just because I think Zach was more brutal, though. Like, Zach, it just looked like Brock was literally murdering a boy. And Big Show was what he did. It just sucked for Ray because his hands were strapped down and secured, so he couldn't do anything to break his fall, and he just, bam, face first. He's going to get a low blow or something here. His knee went out. Oh, kick. That's not even that good of a kick, Bischoff. You're like karate master. I can do that. Oh, somebody's walking to the locker room in the Bills Green Bay game. Don't run into any Michigan State players there. Airplane spin. He is airplane spinning the hell out of Bischoff. There's no way Bischoff can. Neither one of them can stand up. I'm not good at that either. If I was a wrestler and had to take a spin of any kind, I would be dizzy as shit when I was done, and I would need a minute. And if I tried to do anything controlled or take a bump, I could be risking injury because I'd probably fall wrong. Beat him with the leg drop. Goodbye, Eric Bischoff. I also wonder why I don't know why I remember this, because I have very little memories of Eugene, but I do know he had two themes, and he had one before this that sounded the same, just a little different. I liked the first one. I don't remember why I liked it or how it even went or what sounded different about it. I just remember the first one I liked. And then one time Eugene came out and I'm like, what is this song? Am I misremembering that, or you guys agree with me? He had another theme, right? And the other theme was better? Oh, okay, so they have to decide what happens. I get it. Wear a dress, wear a tuxedo, or get your head shaved? Wear a dress, be the winner's servant, or shave. I thought it said shave hero. Doesn't it look like it says shave hero? Shave hero. Yes, it is shave hero. All right, good. We got to shave the hero. Can we shave Batman? Oh, God. Coach, just stay on your little thing. It's bad enough you're here at all.
We're going to get to the live audience in a second. Eugene, don't worry. Coach has left control center and come to the ring. Earl, I just want to make sure I can hear the audience correctly here. We saw the internet audience. All right, you people here in Milwaukee, would you like to see Eric Bischoff be Eugene's servant?
Well, we already know what. Didn't they just show it?
Would you like to see Eric Bischoff wear a dress for a month? Would you like to see?
Oh, so yeah, that's right. This is when Bischoff finally goes gray. Probably here, right? When he gets his head shaved. So why did Coach even do this? They already showed the results of the bullshit. And then he came out just to do it again?
They all want to see you wear a dress for a month.
Oh. He's trying to change it. Well, we already saw the results.
I'm sorry. I misheard them. They want you to be Eugene's servant.
This is a complete waste of time.
All right, how about servant for fun? Now you see, now people
You just said earlier that it doesn't matter what the fans and the audience think. It matters what the poll says. We already saw what the poll... I don't know why I'm getting so mad about this. But this is really stupid.
something completely different.
This is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
So fair is fair. I'm going to call it like I see it. I'm going to make the decision. Eric, you have to be Eugene's servant.
Ugh. Why are they wasting their time? Can Austin or Rock come out and stun him or something?
5 minutes. Maybe you can get him a soda, take his bags to the car. Eugene, heck of a victory. I got to call it right now.
Oh, good. Thank God. Never been happier to see fucking Mr. Horny Pants come out. Look at him walk like that. Sorry, Vince, don't miss you. Well, this is ridiculous anyway, because what Coach is doing, like they should have thought of a more creative way to make this moment that they obviously wanted with Vince coming out and making Eric do it. They took the long way. They could have just had Eric be uncooperative with the procedure, and maybe Coach then wants to interject and help out. But for Coach to come through and do that whole spiel, I mean, you only have 2 hours and 45 minutes of pay-per-view time, and to waste 4 minutes on that. Vinnie Mac in the house. I forgot I got a dancing emoji. I think I can currently add 2 more, so I should do that. We already knew this. Look at Eugene clapping. I guess they're just trying to create entertainment for the audience and make them chuckle and laugh this whole, But I think you could still achieve all of this very same effect and do it. Oh, if you get back here, you're fired. But you could do it in a lot less time than what they're taking to do it. I'll replace you like that. As much as I think Bischoff's a grumpy old fart now, with a stick up his ass about AEW, criticizing him for a whole bunch of shit that he did in WCW, he was a great general manager during these days. I really liked him in that role. I thought it was awesome of him to swallow his pride and come into WWE. I'm like, man, that's for him to do that and take that role. Had to have been hard for him. But he thrived in it. He's like a heel from the first day. First day, he just instantly did his job on the mic. Like, oh yeah, he's going to be easy to boo, And he was there for I don't know how many years, but he was my favorite general manager, like in the history of general managers. It hasn't been very long, 20 years of general managers, but he's been my favorite. Go ahead, walk out, Eric Bischoff. When it came to presidents, it was Jack Tunney, Gorilla Monsoon, but in the general manager days, Bischoff is my favorite. Even more than Foley. If Teddy Long made like, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000 less Undertaker matches on SmackDown, then I might vote Teddy as my favorite of all time, but the nod goes to Bischoff. Here we go. Okay, let's see if they can do this, because if there's one thing I've always experienced or noticed in hair matches is they can never get it done. They always struggle with the shears. Most of the time it's because the wrestler's sweaty. Oh, there you go. Just get the big uns out. You got to get them big uns out. I don't know what hair match it is. I think it's one in TNA or something of like Raven, and he's bleeding and shit because they're just cutting him as they're trying to. They couldn't shave Adrian Adonis's head at WrestleMania 3. It was too sweaty. Jeff Jarrett's hair struggled to get cut at SummerSlam. But something always goes wrong. I don't know why they continue to have these things. They were able to get Vince's hair, I guess, pretty good at WrestleMania, but he wasn't in the ring. He wasn't wrestling, so maybe he was a little less sweaty. I wouldn't want to be doing this, man. I'd be worried I'd cut myself. I'd cut him. Oh, Vince is going to make Coach wear that, isn't he? Coach will forever be Vince's bitch. I'll never forget Vince just cold dissing him on ESPN when Coach was working there and he interviewed Vince. And Vince basically acted like he had never met him before. And it was like, what? Like, bro, how about like, what's up, Coach? How have you been? Or whatever. Even Coach is like, it's good to see you again, boss. How are things? And then Vince went right into his spiel about the Denver Nugget thing. Take your pants off. Don't. I hope he's wearing underwear too. Why? I'm really glad that Vince isn't making Byron Saxton do this every week. Or Corey Graves. Well, Corey Graves would be better for this. Got to make Byron a heel. Make Byron a heel. He'd be perfect for this. Like, they should make Byron like a modern-day Coachman. Start giving him a little attitude. Can Saxton wrestle? I mean, I know he used to. Is he behind the commentary booth because of why? For the same reason Corey Graves is, because of injuries or concussions? Or is he still physically able to wrestle? With your business all hanging out. This is ridiculous. What? Why did we pick this show? How Weezy? What are you smoking? Jerry Lawler, I know you are not criticizing somebody's physique now. Coach, I think, spends more time in the gym than you do. He looks ridiculous. Look at Bischoff. You can see all that gray. It does. His hair's turning white. Vince is bringing it up. What is that? Oh, my God. You dye your hair, don't you? Okay, that's kind of funny. That's not that bad. That's actually pretty funny. Vince is kicking Coachman. Okay, so all that time they wasted earlier, at least they're making up for it here. Coach is wearing the dress. This is pure lunacy. Let's hear it for Eugene. Eugene's like, I'm going to go finish back here. Yeah. Yeah, I think if they made him like still a commentator, but somebody who part-time got physical, and you gave him like a cocky attitude and a pair of glasses and made him obnoxious like Coachman, I think he could be a better Coachman.
Shawn, you should have dropped out of this.
Jesus, Edge, why don't you chill, bro?
6% difference between us and those votes would have gone to me. And guess what I would have done? What you can't do tonight. You know. You can't beat Triple H.
Shawn's like, brother, can you chill, man?
Shawn, and you took it away, you selfish son of a bitch.
Edge is cranky. And now he's got to go wrestle for the tag team titles, and he's mad about it? Oh, Buffalo putting a hurting on Green Bay. I like to see that. It's Edge's birthday today? That's awesome. Happy birthday, Adam. What's up, Jay Lambo? Good to see you. Yeah, how easy. I stand corrected. I was sitting there shitting on that segment, but it picked up at the end. Robert Conway. Loud resistance. I don't think I really disliked Loud Resistance per se. I think it was just I disliked the era that this was happening. You know, the tag team title belt situation was weird, and I didn't like the new design, and I didn't like the teams, and I didn't like anything that they were doing at this time, really, to be honest. So I don't, maybe it was not. And then the original Loud Resistance, fucking what's-his-face, went and separated from these guys. And then they put the American guy with this. And this fool, he was the guy that was like the referee in that Hogan Rock match, remember? And it was so blatantly obvious. Like, you watch this match, never seen this guy before. He's jacked. And I'm like, well, something's going to happen with this referee. He's a worker, you can tell. Be respectful. Yeah, they're booing this. I like the Rougeau brothers better. Rougeau brothers would kick both y'all's asses. Yeah, I like the SmackDown tags better because they were more, they felt like they were a callback to the old design. They kind of resembled them. So I didn't mind the SmackDown tags that much. Plus, I think I preferred that division too, right? Los Guerreros and all that shit. Didn't they all wrestle for those titles? Oh, is this not? God, what is going on? I can't stand this, you guys. Tell this guy to shut up. Okay, I'm turning the volume down. This fool is on my last nerve, as they say in the South. You on my last nerve. Oh, he's yelling. I'm so glad I can't hear it. If you guys are hearing it, I feel for you. I'm watching the Bills. I'm watching Allen scramble and take it out of bounds. Okay, good. Benoit's music. I like Benoit's music. Decent music, horrible man. I like how you get the little digital sound effect with the lower thirds. Yeah, I guess maybe I like these belts better than that. And the way I associate belts too is also I think about how much I enjoyed the product at the time, and this just doesn't reflect one of my happiest times. I mean, I was still watching, I was still going to shows, but I was starting to move away from being a hardcore fan to just being a fan. And I wouldn't freak out if I missed a Raw. You know, we're back in the day. If I made sure I taped every week and never missed one. But there became a time where I'm like, you know what? I don't care if I miss this week. It's no big deal. Probably not going to miss much. Kind of like tomorrow night. I think WWE is stacking up Raw a little bit. I think Brock is scheduled, but, they're about to head to Saudi Arabia. I don't know what a sort of big angle or surprise they could really drop tomorrow. You just got to hope for a decent show, a decent go home. And here it is for the titles. Now, do they try to further the story here with Edge by maybe having him win the tag team titles here? Because he's already pissed. And you would think that he might not be focused. Benoit ain't going to be cool with that. And these two guys, I think, usually are on good terms with each other, but well, Edge seems into it, though. I mean, I'm going to be disappointed if Edge and Benoit do not win this match. I mean, Benoit, 8 months earlier, is winning the World Heavyweight title in the main event in Madison Square Garden. He ain't going to get beat by Robert Conway. I won't let it happen. Against Robert Conway, as JR would say. This is in the ring right now, guys. You got Edge and that Robert Conway is who's in the ring right now. It's Robert Conway. Apparently, he used to drive a cement truck. Oh, I've heard about that, Zane G. We did not talk about that yesterday on the podcast, and I meant to. Thanks for bringing it up now. Yeah. Theory, holding on to the briefcase for a full year. Sure. Anything that is not a cash-in is fine with me, or a successful cash-in, I should say. So whatever they do aside from him successfully cashing in. Now, what I want to know when it comes to Theory holding onto the briefcase possibly for a full year, the rules state that it has to be within a calendar year or just until the next pay-per-view or the next Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Because what if this year's Money in the Bank comes before the year anniversary of last year's Money in the Bank? Could Austin Theory enter the Money in the Bank match this year as the current Money in the Bank briefcase holder and win a second briefcase? Now he's got two, but then he would probably only have a short amount of time to cash in the one because that time would be running out pretty quick. And then he'd have the other briefcase to fall back on, or he would be unsuccessful and then immediately cash in the second one and be successful. I don't know. Like, that would be almost taking it to a new direction, but holding it for that full year, I'm totally fine with that. And I think it would be even funnier if they somehow found a way to get him in the next Money in the Bank match while he's still the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. Figure out a way to do that, Triple H, and that could be some entertaining shit. Fans would hate it. Oh, my God, good mic work. Don't do that. 2 briefcases. Are you crazy? Yeah, I'm just trying to have fun. That's all. You know, I just think it would be funny and weird and different, and at this point, you know, why not? It feels like everything has been done. It feels like everything that can be possibly done in pro wrestling has been done, right? Not only has it been done, it's been done twice. So anything new or any sort of idea that we haven't really seen before, or if you can put a twist on an existing idea, I'm all for at least giving it a shot because the world just keeps on spinning. If it doesn't work, there's going to be a tomorrow, and there's going to be a time when that's just not going to be done again. So I am all for trying things from time to time. I'm not for trying something that's just like aggressively stupid or purposely, look out, Benoit, or purposely counterproductive or something like that. If there's some glaring problems or issues with it, then I'm not going to just say, oh yeah, let's just try it. But anything that's new and something like that with Theory, given the fact that he is kind of unlikable and a heel, he's a lot like Miz in that way, and Miz was great with the briefcase too because he was obnoxious. So then you think about doubling that. Maybe you would double the heat. Double the briefcase, double the douche, double the heat. Imagine how obnoxious he'd be taking selfies with both of them bitches on his shoulders. You know what I mean? So that might be worth watching, in my opinion. I'd be okay with it. What if you could take the fans on such a ride that Theory not only wins the briefcase and we all hate him, and maybe you can do the double briefcase thing, maybe you don't. Let's just assume you don't. Or let's assume you do. Whatever the result is, by the time you get to the point when Theory is going to cash in, you've turned the fans in his favor. He's now been so entertaining with the briefcase on TV, and he's been having good matches. He's been winning some, losing some, doing business, putting in the effort. The fans have been praising his matches after the fact, and then slowly the narrative and the opinion on him changes a little bit to where you start having some people say, you know what? I kind of want to see him win the title now. I know you would have people like that if you orchestrated this right. It would all just be up to Theory if he can pull it off or just somehow wash the stink off of him of just being such an unlikable D-bag. So if they give him time, that's why I'm in no rush to do anything with him with the briefcase, because the longer it goes, the more fans can change their opinion, because fans change their opinion on guys all the time. You guys have done it. I've done it. Sometimes we hate someone at first, but then they work hard, they improve, they impress us in the ring here and there, have a couple of good segments, good matches, good pay-per-view outings. You maybe hear positive stories about them, and I know Theory does not have a very good positive stories right now, but maybe you start hearing some things, and then fans will start slowly changing their tune, and opinion will change, and support will grow for him, and that's maybe when you would capitalize on a cash-in or maybe a babyface turn or something like that. But I think it would be quite the story and quite the success story if this guy cashed in the briefcase to the delight of the audience. When you think about how it started when he won the briefcase with Vince still in charge, many people thought that he was the last person on the roster they would want to see win that. And you change the opinion from that all the way to, wow, we're actually happy for him. that's going to be a challenge creatively. But what if they went in that direction? I'd like to see something like that pulled off. Like if you find the right guy. And I think that would help too, just giving Theory a long year where he's, you know, basically on TV, but like I said, losing matches, winning matches, not giving off the vibe that WWE has got a hard on for him, because I think that's what always affects public opinion of wrestlers the most, is whenever fans get the idea, whether they read it on the dirt sheets, internet, or whether they come up with it on their own, if they get the idea that WWE is shoving someone down their throats, they are in full reject mode. You know, there is no saving them at that point. They are entering, you know, a brick wall that they're not going to be able to penetrate, and the fans just simply aren't going to have it. So that takes time to deprogram. So the fans are, you know, hell-bent on hating him no matter what. All you can do then, you know, is just put him out on TV, let him prove himself. But again, don't be too aggressive with the push, and don't give off the vibe or give the fans the impression that that's what you're doing. And as long as the fans have that out of their head, because another big part and another big thing I think that's working against Theory right now is the fact that he was kind of a Vince McMahon hand-picked guy. And even though Vince is gone, to see Theory on top is still going to, you know, fans still have that opinion of him. So I think you have to wash that away. And if you have him hold on to the briefcase for a while and just go out there and perform every week and do his job well, I think slowly over time you can see the opinion on him change. Maybe that's what WWE is going to try to do with him. That's what I'd try to do with him if I'm Triple H. So the Theory stuff is interesting. I kind of hope he holds it all the way to next year. We'll see what happens. Oh, flag is out. I like it. Well, every talent evolves too, you know. So changing his look is something that's going to naturally happen with him as time goes on. Right now, this is his look. I don't really have much of a problem with his look. I don't like his face. He's got a douche face. I hate to say it. He just does. We know people like that exist. I might have a douche face for all I know. But sometimes you see people like, that guy just has a douche face. And he does. He has that. He looks, you know, and when you have the size and the ability and the looks and you're given the opportunity and you have the youth, you know, naturally that's going to have, you know, a jealousy will arise, you know, in the public. But then he's got a couple of unsavory stories and a couple of accusations floating around out there as well that have not helped him. And then, of course, him being associated with Vince McMahon. Basically, the very last thing that Vince McMahon touched in the company was Austin Theory. So he's got the stink of Vince on him, too. I mean, fans are stubborn as fuck, you know, but they will, you know, they will change. I've seen their opinions change over the years as well. How many people, you know, comment in the chat now and say, oh, yeah, I was a complete asshole to Cena, but I kind of get it now. You know, that type of thing. Everybody grows. Oof. You know, there's also a very good chance, though, that Theory could just have the level of unlikability that The Miz has. And he'll win some championships and do some things in WWE, but he's not going to achieve, you know, superstardom, and he's not going to really have the fans clamoring to see him. He might just be a guy that's unlikable for life. But if I'm Triple H, I'm at least going to try to get the current perception of him and some of the reasons why he's currently so unlike now. I'm trying to change that. Get fans to not like him for another reason or something. Just at least get fans to give him another look and put him in situations where he can thrive. Then if he can't, that's just going to have to be on him. On the young fella. His fault. Theory gave Vince. The last thing Vince touched was Theory. I just meant like metaphorically touched, you know. He was the last segment or the last angle he was involved in. Theory was involved in that final. I guess the last thing Vince touched was Austin Stunner. That is kind of fitting that one of the last things Vince ever did, you know, physically was that stunner. And then of course, he came out and jumped off the ring steps that gave us our little emoji there. But all that crazy shit they were doing on TV with Vince and Theory and those weird backstage segments, and I'm just so glad that's over. Oof. Come on, La Resistance. All right, nice Germans on Robert Conway. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you have to think long term, like Joe James says. When it comes to Theory, who knows what he's going to look like and how he's going to be, and how he's going to grow in the next 5 years. His look is going to change. He'll mature. He'll be much more seasoned in the ring. He'll learn a lot more stuff. Maybe he'll start adding some tattoos or doing his hair differently or growing it out, or who knows? You evolve. I think one of the best current examples we have right now of that in wrestling is Drew McIntyre. Look at Drew McIntyre from 2009 and look at him now. Does that even look like the same dude? You grow. Men are lucky like that. We actually have it really good. Nature is not fair because we get too many fucking perks. But men do look better with age. You kind of look like a little punk when you're young, Can't grow any facial hair. Fucking pimples. Crooked ass nose and shit. But when you get older, you fill out. And Edge is leaving, by the way. Edge is pulling the Ricky Martel at WrestleMania 5. Fuck Tito. Not you, buddy. Not you. God, Edge. So he is about to be full-blown heel. I was thinking maybe him and Benoit win this, but do they still? Maybe they still win it because Benoit wins this match on his own. Edge is bouncing. Edge is going to be in his car, shirtless on the freeway before the match he's booked in isn't even over. I like how his car just happens to be on. I don't think, did they have the keyless things back? Yeah, they did. 2004, yeah, they definitely did. I was driving my 03 Grand Prix back in those days. I took that thing on road trips. It was it's very comfortable to drive. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying women don't age great. Do not misunderstand that. Heck yeah, they do. I'm just saying, like, overall, it just seems like I've heard women themselves complain about this. It's fucking not fair. Men look better. And I'm not saying, I'm not making some crazy off-the-wall opinion here. This is something I've heard with my own ears before. Yeah, there are plenty of women who know how to do it. You know who's just as beautiful as she was when she was 20 years old as Elizabeth Hurley? Almost scary beautiful. Oh, Deshawn, Dominic or Theory as future face of the company. Either one of those two fools? Which one? I have to pick? God, not a fan of either. Although Dominic's growing on me. The more that Rhea's making a man out of him. And I like that Dominic, that's what he needed. I thought all along, I'm like, at some point, somebody's got to get his hooks into him. I thought about maybe like sending him to NXT and have him get mixed up with one of the Toxic Attraction girls or something like that. And then all of a sudden he's like in this, very sexual lifestyle and all this. And he kind of comes back completely different and, with a lot more confidence. And he got his little luchador taken care of a couple of times, if you know what I mean. And he'd come back to Raw better than ever. But this works too. The Judgment Day thing is equally effective. And Benoit I think he's going to beat these La Resistance fools on his own. And we got Robert Conway in the crossface. Tap out, tap out, tap out, tap out. He's crawling. Come on. Come on. He's got it. He's got it. He's got it. Unless they pull the referee out. Yes. Benoit wins it on his own. Okay, so that's interesting. So help me out. You guys probably know better than me. How do they rectify this? You've got Edge pissed. He just left the match. He's halfway to Wendy's. And Benoit just finished the match on his own, wins the tag team championships, which means Edge is a tag team champion. So what happens? Does Edge continue the run with him, or does he say, fuck it, I want out, and Benoit picks a new partner? I don't have any idea what they do. Educators, tell me what happens. Good job, Benoit. Well, held up the world title at WrestleMania 20 and held up both tag titles here. Not exactly the same thing, but still pretty good effort. We just watched last week. It was Halloween Havoc, right? When did we watch Halloween Havoc 98? And Scott Steiner did the same thing. He got juked out by Rick Steiner. And Bagwell ditched him, and then he was in there with Scott and Big Show and Giant on his own, and he won. And he won the tag titles by himself. Yeah, they were kind of hinting at that. I'm pretty sure Edge and Benoit were tag team champions another time, though, but I guess not. Benoit gives Edge the tag belt on the next Raw, I believe. Well, certainly he was a little mad at him, though, for leaving, right? Oh, Edge screws Benoit and himself out of the tag team titles. Thank you for that, Victor. Okay. Triple H and Shawn, here we go. Green Bay on the move, down 24-7. Triple H doesn't believe the injury. Boy, Shawn is a much different person here than he was 3 hours ago on this channel, isn't he? Holy crap.
Shawn Michaels might be telling the world that his leg is broken. Well, if it's not, it's gonna be by the end of the night. You count on one thing.
Green Bay Packers, 0-6 all-time record at Bills. Green Bay has only played in Buffalo 6 times? I know they're not common opponents. And their divisions don't cross over very often, but damn, 6 times in all these years? Shit. Do I think Triple H will bring back Cyber Sunday? I hope not. I hope not. Remember those of you who joined us on the podcast yesterday, remember when we were talking about pay-per-views and I was like, fuck, I had a thought I wanted to share and I was driving me crazy. I remember what it was now. It was about the pay-per-views and gimmick pay-per-views and which ones it would be okay to keep on the show. And I talked about King of the Ring going to the UK since it's King of the Ring and that's where kings and shit are. Go over there and do the King and the Queen of the Ring over there every year. But the other gimmick pay-per-view I thought would be okay to keep would be Extreme Rules. That was a thought I wanted to mention because that would be fun to have one show a year where you can you're guaranteed, like you have a stipulation in every match. And some of them can be less extreme than others. They're going to have a hardcore element to them, of course, but your bigger storylines, you don't pigeon yourself or paint yourself into a corner booking wise with it. You can have it on the calendar without it being in your way, where at Hell in the Cell, it feels like you've got to build an issue really, really personal enough to put in a cell. And sometimes you don't have issues that are that personal 2 times a year. This might be, once in a 3 or 4 year type of deal, or maybe once a year or once every 2 years. So just use Hell in the Cell matches when you need them. That's all. Don't have a whole pay-per-view for them. But Extreme Rules is a little more fun. We got Christy and Carmella coming up. Extreme Rules, I think, would work. Okay, so they've already picked the winner. I wonder what Carmella is up to these days. So did they sign her anyway?
I just want to say congratulations. And you're right. The fans are the reason why you won. The only reason.
So this is after
Was
the Diva, because we watched, right? We watched SummerSlam 2004, didn't we? Didn't we watch it this year? I think we did. So we watched the dodgeball game in August together, right? See, I felt like between the two as well, Christy had more of a WWE look. She kind of had like a Lita and a Trish vibe to her, but Carmella didn't have any vibe to her. Christy looked like she could scrap a little bit if she had to. She'd get the nails out and tear you to shreds. Where Carmella looked a little more fragile and a little less badass, where I definitely like Christy more. Oh, that's Chicago. Did she ever get in the ring at all at TNA? Oh, yeah, I remember when she kissed Eugene. Everything. I mean, she was stupidly hot, but everything has got to be so sexual. It's the funniest thing. She kissed Lillian. Oh, my God. Look at Lillian. Oh, Carmella, you asshole. Look at this fool. Looks like he was wearing a nightie. Nice silk nightie. Look at that computer. What, they got some audio software pulled up there. I'm interested in that. What's with the porno music? What are these boxes for? What is this? What are we doing? Oh, they got to put this shit on or something? Oh, my God. We already had the schoolgirl match. Now we need this while the coach is in a dress. Huh.
We have three options for the match that these women are going to have. So right here in Milwaukee, you're going to choose first. Do you want these divas to have an evening
Oh,
gown
Milwaukee.
tonight?
Evening gown? No, okay.
Would you like these two ladies to compete in a aerobics challenge tonight?
Aerobics challenge? No, okay. What's the other one?
Third and final option,
I have a feeling.
these two young divas to compete in a lingerie pillow fight.
Lingerie pillow fight. Big surprise.
I think the live
Who would have guessed?
what the worldwide internet audience had to say. The three options once again, the aerobics challenge, the lingerie pillow fight, or the evening gown match. Here are the results.
50%, 57% lingerie pillow fight. I mean, I guess if you're going to be paid $1 million to beat someone with a pillow, it's not a bad deal. I'd do it. So nothing against the women whatsoever, but this is just ridiculous. Okay, so they got, they're going to change in these big boxes so their big silhouettes are on the, of course. That would make me self-conscious as fuck being in that thing. Knowing my, look at that. Oh, God. And they have to change like that, of course, because that's how everybody changes. Because that's how I change. Like, when I take my boxers off when I get home from work, I do just what Christy did. I mean, I shake it. Let's just say I'm glad Sammy isn't in this one. This is hilarious. JJ Leg, I should do a lingerie pillow fight on stream? I'll have to come up with a super chat amount for that. It's going to have to go minimum 1,500 on that one, though. And I will put on the sexiest little nightie you have ever seen. I just got to find something to hit with a pillow. Maybe a lucky listener. I'm kidding. This is taking forever. They waste a lot of time on this show. They've got these girls literally changing in this thing. And so by the way, are we going to talk about how Carmella's box isn't working? Like, hers isn't working. So we're only getting Christy. Okay, she's changed. She's ready to rock. And they have to make sure that, what's the word? They stay in, you know? Yeah, last week we're watching Warrior and Hogan, right? My God. And Christy has got to put whatever the hell she's putting on her feet. They're ringing the bell. They're telling her, like, will you hurry up? Now Christy's like, oh, fuck. I got to buckle my whatever. But she is taking way too long. Come on, honey. It's time to go. I'm almost ready. Come on. We got to be there at 7:30. I'll be right down. She's going back for more, says Jerry Lawler. Pay-per-view has total. Okay, there. She's out. Finally. Okay. Jeez. I like that there's pillows in the ring. So let me guess, the pillows are going to be open and like feathers are going to fly out when they hit each other, right? They're not going to be normal pillows. Because anytime you ever hit anybody with a pillow, feathers always fly out of it. Because every pillow on earth is down.
Ladies, if you will please take off your robes, because your match starts now.
Match starts now. It took you that long to put that on? Oh, Lord. Oh. Oh, she pulled out a thing. Well, she didn't think that might get discovered in a wrestling match? It might just be a boob protector. It's like, we got cups, right? Oh, down she goes. Why are you trying to be in heels for this? This is how you break an ankle? There goes the feathers, of course. Oh, naturally. Oh, yeah. This is a... I just love that there's fur. Ugh. It's embarrassing. WWE should be embarrassed of themselves. Or ashamed of themselves, I think. I mean... Now they're going to roll around. Jerry Lawler is, as usual, offering his services to help out with matters in the ring. It's very nice of him. Lawler's cool like that. Very generous. I think even the fans are like, okay, this is stupid. Like, this is a pay-per-view. Come on. They just want puppies. That's all they want. Congratulations, WWE. It amazes me. Oh, Christy pins her. Christy wins. It amazes me the dumb shit they will edit out of shows on Peacock and how much ridiculous stuff they leave in. They edited something, a couple of segments out of the Raw we watched today because it was only an hour and 20 minutes long. Whatever that was, leave that in and get rid of this. Christy's got, I was like, is it in her mouth? The confetti? Well, she maneuvered pretty well in the ring in those heels. That would just scare me shitless that I'd roll an ankle or something in there. You're already on the ring mat, which isn't very stable. And then you're going to try to work in heels? Now, Lawler is toweling off there. So you know what just hit me right now? I kind of forgot. This is a Raw pay-per-view, isn't it? Right? It's just Raw. Yeah, it's a Raw pay-per-view. I didn't really put that. I kind of forgot. We're in the middle of a brand split era here. Yeah. I'm like, why are JR and Lawler the only announcers? Because they were doing separate pay-per-views during this time. Oh, yeah, let's look at the bullshit inside this DVD, by the way. Here's the disc. The disc looks pretty cool. I like the way the disc looks. Taboo Tuesday. Here comes Triple H. Take out this insert here. Insert just has the matches on it. Nothing special. Oh, look at this. An advertisement for Theme Addict. The Music Volume 6 never before released entrance themes album and available in stores now. Cool. Oh, here's the track listing. It's Evolution, Carlito, Theodore Long, Christian, Heidenreich, Diva theme, Randy Orton, Chavo, Taker, Eugene, Victoria, Shelton, Billy Kidman, SmackDown theme, Gail Kim, Bradshaw, and John Cena. John Cena Untouchables, whatever that means. I don't think I have Theme Addict. If I do, I don't remember what's on or many of those songs. Anyway, Taboo Tuesday. Come Taboo Tuesday. They should have Taboo Tuesday in NXT and have Von Wagner say it. Yeah, JJ, I hear you, man. Going to be really hard for HBK. Triple H and Shawn Michaels, you know, to have to follow the athletic prowess in the clinic that Christy and Carmella put on in that earlier segment and match. Unbelievable drama unfolding before our eyes in a match that is probably as good as anything I've ever seen since Shawn Michaels and Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. So Triple H and Shawn, good luck. You got to follow two of the best. Lingerie pillow fights are always tough to follow, you know? So I don't remember how this ends. I mean, I know obviously Triple H is going to retain the title here, and Shawn's going to probably go have surgery or something. But I don't recall how it goes. Because I don't think the injury is a work, right? This injury is legit. He's not just faking this, is he? And maybe it was the following year. What year am I remembering him cutting some promo and saying, I got to leave for a while, not losing the smile? This is like, I thought it was 04. Maybe it was 05 then. But he had to kind of leave and get surgery, but he did come back. He came back and worked. And I thought maybe this was it, but I might have that wrong. Somebody in the chat, help me. Because earlier on, I was referencing that promo that he cut. I was like, I remember when he said he had to go, and he vowed when he was going to leave for surgery, he vowed to come back. I'm going to come back. I promise you haven't seen the last of me. Just reassuring us that, don't worry, I actually have plans to keep going. Because still during those years, you didn't know. I mean, Shawn was still kind of freshly back. He was only back for 2 years. As a fan, you felt like that could end any time. So anytime he did get hurt or had to take time off, you wondered if that was going to be it. Yeah, and I think this has got to be it. This has got to be the time he leaves for surgery, because I remember after he comes back, he no longer wears this style trunks. He goes to the longer, more looser fit ones, the chap look, kind of like bell-bottom look that he had. He didn't have this for much longer. I don't know when the last time these type of tights made a Shawn Michaels appearance, but I have a feeling this might be the last time. But in most cases, you guys know this era better than I do, so fill a brother in. Pat me down, Chief. You're never going to find those brass knucks. I suitcased it. What does suitcasing mean, you say? Just Google it. Yeah, I think he goes to chaps for his knee braces because they would be way too visible. Now, he's wearing one now that you can see, but I think maybe he's got another one on later or something, or maybe it just becomes more comfortable for him to wear that. I preferred him in what he's wearing now. It was a hard transition for me, but he was still just as good as a worker, and it was a pretty easy transition at the end of the day. But at first, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that look. I miss old Shawn. But also, too, Shawn, he still looks like decently sized here. He would slim down even more than he is here. We saw both of these guys earlier today in that segment with the little Bret Hart. Triple H about to go into his DX In Your House match with Sergeant Slaughter. That was a much different Triple H back then, and a much different Shawn Michaels. And that was only 7 years before this, which is just mind-blowing. I love that big gold belt, Isaac. I'm with you. Triple H wore it well, you know. It's always going to be an NWA and WCW belt to me, but WWE's version of it, I will always associate, I think, Triple H with that belt in WWE. In terms of all the people that held it. I mean, Cena held it a few times, Orton held it, and Benoit held it. Lots of guys held that big gold in WWE, Kane. But Triple H, to me, wore it the best. Looked the best on him. He wore it like a champion. It looked good on Batista, too. It did. It did look good on Batista. And hell, Triple H put him over hardcore. It did look good on Batista. He pulled it off. But Triple H, to me, embodied more of just the type of professional wrestler that I like more than the type of professional wrestler that Batista is. I like Brock a lot better than Batista. Yeah, look good on Angle, look good on Taker, look good on Edge. All those men wore it well. But to me, Triple H wore it the best. See that part on Shawn's head there? I always speculated in my head. He's got that, like, patch on his head. And that's a really weird place for baldness to occur. Usually it's, like, right in front or it's right in the back. It's never just off to the side. It's just a weird place to be going bald. I know this because I went bald and I know how it goes. And that's not where it starts. So it will start in front, but his just seems to be more concentrated on that side. So I speculate, is that the chunk that Bret Hart ripped out? Is that for real? Because it's noticeable in matches when he gets sweaty and he's got that side of his head that's bare. Is that from when Bret just thinned up his hairline up there by yanking a chunk out? I mean, maybe on some men it starts there. I don't know. I've just never really seen it when you begin to go bald, just start on one kind of side of your head. I maintained my hairline up front. Mine was more losing in the back a little bit when I had longer hair and started noticing it. So then I just started buzzing it, and then just one thing led to another. And next thing you know, I'm like, you know what? Let's just go get a razor blade. Austin and Goldberg pull it off, and they're not nearly as handsome or have nearly as good a physique as me. And they look good in it. So if they could do it, I figured I could. I mean, those guys are losers, so I figured I would easily look better than them. And I do. Yeah, this is an unsafe working environment. You'll pull the goddamn squirrel out of my head. For realsies. Yeah, I think that's the urban legend, is that Bret caused that patch, but nobody really knows. I want to know what caused Dusty's blotch. I think he got kicked by a mule, but I don't know what his story is. My grandpa had one. My grandpa, when I saw him with his shirt off one time, he had like a dusty blotch, but his was more of a lump or something. And he's like, I got kicked by a horse when I was a little boy, and it's been there ever since. Because he just like lived on a farm and shit, you know. And he's like, yeah, just in the barn one day, horse kicked me right in the gut, and it left that mark, and it looked like a big purple bruise that like stuck out a little bit. It was really weird. So I wonder if Dusty got kicked by something. Yeah, and this is a legit injury apparently, torn meniscus. This must be, though, maybe it's one of those injuries, I don't know, that kind of like Cody's, you know, or a situation where you can't really hurt it any more than it's hurt. It already needs to be operated on. It's already torn. So as long as you can gut out the pain, then you're safe to do it. I can only imagine that's a scenario here. Otherwise, Shawn wouldn't be cleared. But I think the fans are assholes. Like, this is kind of a dick move on the fans' part. They should have some sympathy for Shawn here. The fans should think this through, but asking a wrestling fan to think anything through is asking a lot. But if you did think it through as a fan, you would say, well, Shawn's hurt. He's already revealed to us that he has a torn meniscus, which means if he beats Triple H tonight and wins the title, he's going to have to forfeit it anyway. So wouldn't we look like scumbags if we take a not healthy and less than 100% Shawn and vote him into the ring to get the shit kicked out of him for no reason? Let's vote for Edge just to spare Shawn. Maybe some fans did think that, and that's why Edge got so many votes. But I don't think it was very fair to Shawn to do that to him. It's fans being selfish. In their heads, they might be thinking, oh, yeah, Shawn will win the title, but he's going to have to forfeit it because he's injured. Shawn should have gone heel on him the next night on a promo. Like, came out to the ring. You motherfuckers, you voted me in. I fucked my knee up worse. Now I'm going to be out 9 months because of you. And when I come back, I promise I'm going to be your worst nightmare. I'm going to attack your heroes. I'm going to, whoever the top babyface is, I'm going to destroy him. Each one of you are bastards. And then he spends his entire time off shitting on him online and doing interviews where he just talks about how bad the fans suck, what jerks they are. He'll never do an autograph signing again. Denounces the church. Goes back to being old Shawn. Sends him on a downward spiral. All because the fans were selfish at Taboo Tuesday. That would have been a fun storyline. And sometimes the smallest things can have a domino effect that can result in catastrophic stuff going down. That deal 79. I have many friends. Only one of them is a wrestling fan, such as myself. That one fan is low-key an idiot when it comes to wrestling fandom. That's funny. I've had a couple of friends I've known a long time, many years, that I went to shows with and stuff that I always had around as friends that watched wrestling. But in my regular life, my restaurant life, a couple people, but most wrestling fans that I ran into were more casual than anything else. But whenever wrestling would be brought up in a social environment, people would always be pretty amazed by how much I knew about it. And then I was like, well, I used to watch it, or I watched it a lot, or used to watch it way more back in the day type of thing. But they never know what was up. Casual fans don't know anything. They'd have their facts all wrong and shit. I'd want to correct them so badly, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. This is casual fan talk. It's don't stick my nose in like a nerd. Well, actually, I wanted to so bad, but I didn't. I'm like, you know what? Let them think that. I don't care. Eight count. Shawn's up. Triple H is up. Match continues. Shawn's fighting hard. Showing that heart he's got. Who's your daddy Montreal is the best heel moment. Those fans didn't see that coming. I will tell you this, though. It had me going more than what we watched today. When Shawn said Brett was going to be there and they showed the limo on the screen, I knew sitting in my seat Brett wasn't there. I'm like, Brett is not in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I know that for a fact. So they had me going, though, in 2005 for like a split second. But still, at the end of the day, I was not surprised that Shawn, the camera panned to him or cut to him laughing and he rubbed it in their faces. That was great. That was just a great heel moment. But I didn't truly believe that Brett was coming out. I think it would have taken a lot of attention off of Hogan and Shawn, which was the story they were building. Right? Oh, Shawn was great in 92 and 94. Coming into his own there. I didn't love him in 92 and 93. He still, had some proven to me to do. But by the time we got to 94, I was Team Shawn. I'm like, oh, yeah. 93 kind of had his chubby year, remember? That was funny. The chubby year of Shawn. He had a huge ass. And he talks about it. He says it's because he traveled with Kevin Nash and ate the same food as him. Come on, Shawn. Come on, Triple H. Can't even beat a one-legged Shawn. Was the only time that Shawn beat Triple H in his return at SummerSlam? I mean, they wrestled a bunch. They wrestled for the title. They had Iron Man matches. I think they were in Hell in a Cell at one point. And I remember Triple H winning most of those encounters. Did Shawn pull one off? I know I did a whole video on the rivalry a couple years ago. Oh, I just don't remember. Come on, Shawn. Come on, Shawn. Fight. Oh, good, WWE fan. You're still here. I was going to give it another 10 minutes and phone the police. Shawn Michaels believes. I think the fans believe. Oh, Batista's here. Oh, no. Oh, super kick. I don't think the referee's going to see that. The showstopper. Oh, he beat Triple H in the Survivor Series in 02 as well. That's right. So he got the best of Triple H early, but then it was really heavy Triple H on the backside. Oh, Edge is here. You motherfucking Canadian. Come on, Triple H, make the cover. And Triple H wins. Well, good job, Shawn. Good luck in your injury. Yeah, it felt like Shawn came so close a bunch of times, but never really got that title back. It was really interesting. He had very little championships in that second run. I mean, he came back, and of course, they threw the title right at him as soon as he came back, but he only held it for like a month. Here comes Edge. So Shawn wouldn't be out for very long because he'd be back. He'd be building his angle with Kurt Angle. Damn, Triple H. And that's going to leave us with the main event, I think. Well, there's 30 minutes left in the show, so. Yeah, the fans are going to give him some love, I think, here. Love to Shawn. They said they were in Milwaukee. I don't know if, is this the same building as King of the Ring 96 and Over the Edge 98? Or is this a different joint? Showstopper. Stealing the show on a Tuesday, because that's the way he rolls. So now we've got, is Flair chosen as the opponent, or Flair is already the opponent? Do we have to choose the stip? I forget how this goes, but we're about to find out. That dastardly Edge. Dirty Canadian. I'm kidding. Canadians are great. You know who I had in my restaurant last night? I was just talking to a couple, and I just happened to ask them where they're from, because I could just tell they weren't from San Diego. And they're like, Canada. And I'm like, where? They're like, Edmonton. And I'm like, oh, really? And I mentioned something about Calgary. And then they're like, well, we hate Calgary because they're our hockey rival. I'm like, oh, yeah, I understand. I love hockey. I'm from Detroit, and the Red Wings are very big. He goes, oh, I'm from Detroit originally, too. He goes, my grandfather played on the Detroit Red Wings with Gordie Howe in the Gordie Howe days. And I'm like, no kidding. I'm like, what was his name? He said Jack Lindquist. So anyway, Jack Lindquist's grandson was in last night, and I talked to him. For you hockey fans. Oh, look at Steve Kern. Is that Kennedy? Check out Kennedy. Oh, you're going to fire Kennedy? Steve Kern and Kennedy. Bischoff is all mad. He's bald. He's pissed. He's got half gray, half black hair. He's a mess. Fuck the Avs. I hate the Avalanche. Those 95 and 96 and 97 games between those teams, my God. You should beat the piss out of each other. That Claude Lemieux motherfucker, I will always hate him with every bit of my being. Yeah, Shelton, that was awesome. Don't make me come down there. Yeah, the Red Wings, I think they got some rebuilding going on, but man, they have to return to start. They just, to me, should have been a team that should have never fallen off. They should always just be a top franchise. I feel like they should be a Yankees or Lakers or Celtics or something like that. They had a rich history. They've won championships in multiple eras. Those teams they had in the 90s were just so good. Those Russians they had on the team, my God. And Fedorov and all those guys, my God, man, that teams are so good. Those days are long gone. I hated Patrick Waugh too, but Patrick Waugh said something once in an interview that cracked me the fuck up. Somebody was shit talking him, and the interviewer was like, "Did you hear what so-and-so said about you?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "I had both of my Stanley Cup rings in my ears." I'm like, that's an excellent comeback. Yeah, Fedorov and Datsuk and Kozlov. There's a couple of the guys that got injured after they won the first cup, and then they, when they won the second cup in back-to-back years, they kind of brought them out. One of them was in a wheelchair. They got a really bad accident. Oh, they're showing what happened to poor Kane. Oh, good. We're going to recap all this. I was about to say, we do have quite a bit of time left. I mean, they wasted a lot of time in the show, too, with all that stuff they did with Coach and Vince McMahon. And now this long-ass recap. Christy and Carmella pillow fighting. They've had nonsense. Eugene wins. All right, Green Bay is trying to move the ball a little bit, but they are down 17 with 12 minutes left. They are going to lose, and they are on the road. So good. Aaron Rodgers, 3-5. Suck it. The coach is part of these shenanigans. Edge just leaves. Benoit's like, I'll win the tag team titles anyway. No big deal. I know, Ray. They're recapping everything here. Well, I mean, they had 30 minutes left, and if it's going to be Orton and Flair here, I don't think they're going to go 30 minutes, so they might have had some extra time to kill. Ow. I think I'll like the pay-per-view or the watch-alongs a little better next month when we start busting out some Survivor Series. Oh, yeah, and the other thing they did with Christy and Carmella, not only was the match ridiculous, but it took so long to get the nonsense done because they had to have the ladies change live into whatever they were going to wrestle in, which took like 100 years for Christy. And feathers and fucking Jack Doan has got to be on pillow fight duty. What would they do if there was a three-way tie with Benoit, Edge, and HBK? Well, they'd probably have to count the votes and then stop counting the votes. And then whoever lost would have to claim it was fraud and then hold a big press conference in front of a fucking fertilizer store with a spray tanner running down your face, screaming about freedom and shit. And then the person who won would just go on to face the champion, and all of that bullshit would just be ignored. So I still think at the end of the day, it would be HBK. Okay, so we do know it is Flair and Orton, so they must choose the stip. And I think it's a cage match. Or I know it's a cage match. So that means we already know the outcome. That sucks. Oh, did Buffalo just get a turnover? Oh, that's very sad for you, Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully I'll find the strength to move on with my day. Flair's ready. I like how Flair's going to man up in 2004. I mean, I will give it to Flair. Like in like 02, 03, 04, he had some good matches. He had a great match in 03 against Triple H. He had a couple of good matches against Triple H. He had one for the Intercontinental title, didn't he? And then another one on Raw in like 03. That was the night they did that big like celebration thing for him, testing the waters of what a retirement would look like. Practicing for what we would see in 2008. The weirdest thing to me to wrap my head around was when Flair won the Intercontinental title. I just thought, to me as a fan, that was so weird. The Intercontinental title had greatly evolved by that point. So many people were holding it, and it was hot potatoed for years. But Flair holding it, I'm like, man, you know, that championship 10 years prior was such a big deal. It's not a championship I could even conceive Flair holding in his previous run, you know? But it made sense. I mean, he was U.S. champion a bunch of times in NWA and WCW. The only thing I wish is that it wasn't the old design. And Flair was wearing that belt. I thought it would look pretty cool. Flair may have worn an Intercontinental title during the days of the video distortion, but I think it was a tag title most weeks. But who knows? It might have been an IC a couple times. Closest thing he ever got to that belt. Oh, well, in terms of a WWE career, Randy Orton is of the two, is the breakout star of Evolution, you know. But yeah, Batista went on to do great things in his life. He's in movies and shit. He's gone on to great success. But I think in WWE legacy, Randy Orton will have a greater one. He'll have more championships, more, you know, spent more time there. Submission match, falls count anywhere, or steel cage. I don't get the point of asking the crowd. I mean, I guess you can't. It's the only way to really involve them. I guess when you think about it, it's a interactive pay-per-view where the fans at home can vote, but you have fans in the arena too, and phones aren't a thing yet. I mean, cell phones are, but none of that stuff we have now. You can't be like pulling up your app in 2004. Blowout steel cage. My phone, I'm pretty sure, was a gray Kyocera. Yeah, gray Kyocera. I think it flipped up. Pretty sure I still have it. I have all my old phones. They're stored somewhere. I should go on Amazon and look up the power supplies for all those, because I know I don't have any power supplies to any of them, or whatever they used at the time. Look them up and find them, plug them in, see if they work. But I would definitely have to buy something to get them working. Oh, look, it's Ric Flair's theme again. It's his 1992 theme. We heard this once before and referenced it. And one of you probably informed me in the chat that there was another show that they used this on, and it was this one. I love that he's using that. I'm always like desperately curious about stuff like this. Was this a conscious decision backstage? Let's play this one this time? Like, why this one? It doesn't appear to be dubbed unless it's edited. I don't think it is. I think they actually legitimately used this. Could pop in the DVD and check. So yeah, I'm confused if this is a pay-per-view where they're actually using this theme or if it's edited. I should have been listening more. Oh, Orton still had this theme. He had this for a while, I guess. This was a new theme for him. Still had this theme. This is brand new. Have you guys seen that that Val Venus shoot interview that's floating around YouTube right now? It's pretty decent, and I forget the I think it's Wrestling Shoot Interviews YouTube channel. It's a pretty big channel, but it's a really well done interview. And I was skeptical to click on one of the clips because last I had seen, Val Venus had completely flown off the rails and had become batshit nuts and become somebody that I don't want to fucking listen to. He's one of those QAnon fuckers or something. But he seemed completely normal in this entire shoot interview. None of that seemed to be brought up at all. It was all about wrestling. He had a lot of interesting stories about the Attitude Era, and he told some Randy Orton stories too about when Randy first got there and his immaturity and his growth and stuff. And it was pretty good. It was just bizarre. Like, I was like, oh God, this asshole. And he was just minding his P's and Q's for that. And maybe there was already a predetermined agreement. Like, none of that shit on this. It's purely wrestling. And he came off and he had really good things to say. I watched maybe 20 or 30 minutes of it. Talked a lot about Over the Edge and Owen, dying and that stuff. He was there. I think he wrestled the next match. Wow, big backdrop to Flair's. Well, one thing is pretty for sure here. Flair is going to bleed. He might be bleeding already. He might have been bleeding during voting. And he thumbs Orton. We're not on the escaping rule here, are we? Maybe we are. Val getting high on his supply and looking up nonsense on the internet. I remember when there was a rumor of him starting a tag team with Godfather, and they were going to call it Supply and Demand. And I just think that would have been a great tag team name for those two. And really wish they would have gone with it. Supply and Demand. Give them the belts. pimp and a porn star. That's great shit. Especially for the Attitude Era. Give me supply and demand over Billy and Chuck any day. Except for the Flair segment. Figure out a way to, or the Bischoff segment, I should say. Figure out a way to get that in. Where Bischoff peels some old man paint off himself. Give me one of those in there somewhere. Yeah, it looks like Orton is the first one to gig. And he's already crimson masked up. What's up, bud? I've got an awake cat over here. Green Bay's way back on their own 4 with a ways to go. 10 minutes in the 4th. And they are going nowhere. They are going to get safety. Nope. He escaped. Gained 2 yards. Good job. What's going on, buddy? You're nearly on camera. A little closer. You will be. A little closer. A little closer. Oh, just your ear. See if you can get your face. Move a little closer. Hey, there he is. You're just off camera, buddy. Say hi. There he is. See? Oh, now you're not having it. Okay. That's right. We are just... What's the date on Taboo Tuesday, 2004? Here, I have it right here. Let me just look it up real quick. October 19th. Okay. So, yeah, they are just maybe 2 weeks away, maybe 3, from election night from George Bush and John Kerry. I remember that. That was the only time that I voted knowing that the person that I was voting for was going to lose. I voted for Hillary thinking she was going to win. And but I just had that year in 2004 though, you know, with everything going on. I'm like, yeah, Bush is, I mean, I couldn't stand Bush, but I was kind of like, he's going to retain the title, and he'll remain El Presidente for another 4, and he did. Ooh, nice. Was that a catch? It was a catch. Rogers aired it out at least past the 50. They're on the move. They got a chance to pull it within 10 with, I suppose, time. In a crazy, crazy, crazy universe, Rogers could pull that off. We got blood on Flair's face. We got blood on Orton's face. Earl's in the middle of this, cringing. Oh yeah, you can't get Flair's ass. Guys, it's Flair's ass. Flair's butt. Blood and ass crack. How wheezy? I blame you. Look at that. Oh, and he's going to crotch himself. And, oh, God. Earl pulled his pants up. Oh. That tain't what I need right there. That's for sure. God, Ric Flair, that was an angle that I will never forgive the cameraman for. I also hated these cage matches. I hated that the cage was just like 4 fences placed on each side of the ring with a big gaping hole in the middle of the ring posts. Didn't feel very cagey. Felt lazily made. I'm like, you should wrap these things in mesh and close up those corners. Make it a more connect the ends with brackets or something. Just put it all together. Any basic engineer can figure that out. Here, you take this pipe and this screw and you put it on here and then boom, it's done. That's all you do. Yeah, Orton is straight choking. Like when Flair's got that blood on his face and his face is purple from the choke, he is a crazy color. Flair looked like he was just rubbing his grate in his own face on the. Oh, he's going crazy. When would because Orton's not like a heel here, but he would be heel by the time we'd get to WrestleMania. When did all that happen? Yeah, they got corner attachments up there, but like just that big gap in the middle, I don't like. I just wish that all connected. What a weird pet peeve to have. I used to always want the blue bar cage. Oh, big high cross until a lot of wrestlers began pointing out the obvious, that it was an absolute bitch to work in. And then I'm like, you know what? Okay, don't bring that back. For the sake of them, I'll give that up. I'll sacrifice that as a fan for their health and safety and longevity. I got no issue with that. So I do miss the blue bar cage, though. Just had a look to it that I thought was cool, but it doesn't really work as well as these do. And the blue bar cage wasn't around that long. I mean, it was only maybe around 10 years here and there. That's how these were done in the 70s and 80s. They were just these mesh cages like this. See Ryan, did Green Bay make any more progress here? Flair's trying to get out. Oh, he did. They scored. Holy shit. Well, they went, what, 95 yards on that drive? Not bad. Flair, Jesus. It hurts to watch. I mean, this is 18 years ago, and it was painful to watch him work back then. This dude had a match last month, or last summer, I should say. Brass knucks. Delivered and sold well by Orton. I felt like Earl was whispering up to Randy, like, make sure you kick out here. Oh, he turned heel by giving the RKO to Stacy Keibler. I remember that. I didn't realize that was the segment he turned heel in. They are using ratchet straps to put around the post. Look at it right there. That's crazy. Yeah, that's bullshit, man. That's shoddy. That's shoddy work. You could easily construct something and still hang it from the ceiling that just looked a little less busted than this. But it's probably a very easy breakdown and simple and easy to do. That's why they do it. But is that going to be it with the RKO? Cover. I mean, that was an excellent bloody brawl. I remember watching that match live thinking, liking it for all the reasons. Number one, it was another great moment for Orton. He just won the World Heavyweight title and, of course, coughed it up to Triple H. But bounces back here with a big win over a legend, a bloody cage match brawl that will be remembered, and I think for the most part it is. It was a good outing for Flair. Good to see him get so hardcore like that when he's so close to the end of everything. And Ric Flair main evented a pay-per-view, which he never did before, not even in his early days. WrestleMania 8, he didn't main event, and he was in a title match. He wasn't booked for SummerSlam. Survivor Series, he was in that tag match with Mr. Perfect and Savage, and that was in the undercard. I think Brett and Shawn main evented that night. I guess technically he main evented the Royal Rumble in 92. I guess he did. That would be the only one he main evented technically, but I also suppose 30 men main evented that night. Are we going to get a handshake? I think we are. Good for you, Flair. Good for you, RF. All right, we got a 10-point game with 6 minutes left here. Buffalo's trying to get some yards on the kickoff. There we go. Handshake. Earl approves, I think. And he hugs Flair. Is he going to RKO him again? Oh. Get up, Flair. I want to raise your hand, and you've messed it up. Hey, bud, hold on. We're watching Flair and Orton get bloody over here. God, Flair looks like he's going to make out with him, doesn't he? It's a little bit intense. That's way too intense. Your votes made it happen. All right, and that's a wrap on Taboo Tuesday. That was fun to go back and watch. I don't know when the last time I watched Taboo Tuesday was. It's definitely been a while, and it was fun to go and take a look back at that show finally after all these years. So thank you to those of you who have been with us for 2 watch-alongs today. We had our doubleheader, members-only job that we had earlier today with that Raw show from 97, and now Taboo Tuesday 2004. Pretty awesome. If Flair and Hogan happened at WrestleMania 8, Flair might have gotten that pay-per-view main event. Yeah, it definitely would have. I think it was Flair and Hogan. Yes, Hogan was going to be in the main event of that. And otherwise, he would have to be. It was always a double main event with him. Whenever Hogan was involved and he wasn't champion, that's when WWE would have the double main event because Hogan, anything Hogan, had to still be the main event. That's how crazy they were. And yes, good night, everyone, and happy Halloween to those of you who are going out and trick-or-treating or taking your kids trick-or-treating or celebrating, although I think most people did that last night. I noticed at the restaurant with the business and stuff, last night was Halloween party night. Any of my friends back on the East Coast or any friends I had here, some people from the restaurant even wanted to be off so they could go to Halloween parties. People in the streets dressed up. A lot of that's probably going on tonight, too. And then tomorrow is the actual day. Trick-or-treaters everywhere, and maybe some of the little fuckers will knock on my door tomorrow, too. We'll have to see. So I do not have a Raw review planned for tomorrow. I think WWE's probably maybe expecting a lighter audience. I mean, a lot of their audience is going to be trick-or-treating tomorrow when you think about it. I mean, that could be pretty effective to their ratings tomorrow. I don't know how many years WWE Raw has fallen on Halloween, how many Mondays it's been, but it's probably been a few, probably 4. So we have to look back at the numbers and see what they do. But I think overall, they're not going to give us anything crazy for the Go Home Crown Jewel tomorrow. So no Raw review planned. Why don't we just check right here? I have it written down. There's a chance I'm not going to be here on Wednesday for the watch-along. Never mind, I will be. I will be here Wednesday for the watch-along. I thought maybe I wouldn't be, but I just wanted to double-check my schedule. And yeah, we are good. So I'll be here Wednesday night for the watch-along. And then my plan for Crown Jewel is to give you guys predictions on Thursday. We'll come up and just do some quick predictions in the middle of the afternoon for me on Thursday, early evening for everybody else on the East Coast. And then, of course, Saturday we'll be up here. Maybe not immediately after the pay-per-view. I might wait an hour after Crown Jewel goes off the air because it airs for me at 9 a.m. So I might get a late start on it or have to catch up or whatever. But I'm not going to be in a rush to come up here and do a review. But I will do one within an hour or so of the show going off the air. So we'll be here Saturday to talk about that. So still lots going on. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday evening. Thanks again for being here. It was fun. Great day as always. You guys are the best. And thanks again to all the channel members who helped make this possible. Have a good night. Enjoy your Monday. See you soon. Peace.